Rival House Network. Howdy, boils and ghouls. Aaron and Zach here.
Oh, it's a fucking spooky episode of Cinema Anima. Is this our first Halloween?
This is our first Halloween, the week of Halloween. So you're hearing this, I believe, for everybody, you're hearing this on the 28th. So we're a few days out. If you're on Patreon, you're hearing it a few days early or a couple days early. But yeah, regardless, Halloween is upon us.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And hopefully, if you're listening to this as well, you're going to join us for our Halloween night stream on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I like the voice you did at the start of this. It was almost like Count Chocula, you know?
Oh, yeah. We got to be spooky. It's a spooky fucking episode.
The Count Chocula cereal.
We should talk like that the whole episode.
I used to listen to the Count Chocula CD. Like, they used to include this Halloween CD in the Count Chocula cereals and Boo Berry and shit. General Mills back when Riverman and I were in high school. And
exactly. Why'd they even bother with the Boo Berry? No one got that shit. Did anybody get Boo Berry?
Frankenberry and shit.
Yeah, there was two that were the same. Frankenberry, Boo Berry?
Frankenberry was strawberry. Boo Berry was blueberry.
Fucking lame.
Thus the name. But yeah, I remember it came with a CD and it was all Halloween sounds, like the kind of shit you put in a boombox outside your window on trick-or-treating, you know, and you can hear. And but I think they had like Monster Mash on there too, but the Count Chocula and all his gang singing it and stuff. But the intro was great. Like, thank you for purchasing my Count Chocula cereal. And it was really funny. And I remember Riverman and I made we had a music audio visual class or something, and we had to make a video music project, and I remember we heavily featured that CD like throughout the whole thing.
Fucking Count Chocula is like one of the greatest fucking American heroes.
Yeah, I mean, there's already one Count Chocula. Who came first, Blackula or Count Chocula?
Fucking Count Chocula isn't actually black.
I mean, he looks dark to me. He looks ethnic to me. I don't know. So is he made of chocolate or he's just obsessed with chocolate?
I don't. He loves chocolate. Yeah. Who doesn't?
So he's like the Count on Sesame Street and he's obsessed with counting.
Oh, yeah.
What's it with these vampires? They're obsessed with shit. Anyway, Cinema Anima. If you guys are new to this particular show, we drop it about once a month. Obviously, we do the BTM commentaries more. Those come out every single week, and then, you know, other shit. But if you're new, basically, this is a little bit more streamlined of a format. The first half of the show, we talk about what we've been watching, quick overviews of that, little news bits, what's in the news, and our reactions about it. And we take a little break, and then the last half of the show is sort of the meat of our topic, which is in the title. We'll obviously get into that. We usually take turns on choosing a flick or a topic of discussion. Doesn't necessarily have to be a particular movie per se. And this week was Zach's choice, but we'll get into that. There's not a whole lot for news this week, and I've noticed news has been super duper slow ever since all the quote unquote real world events have been going on all of 2020.
The Covey.
So it's been super dry, but a couple little things of note I will bring up is, this shouldn't be a surprise because everything's getting pushed back, but Ghostbusters, that new Ghostbusters flick got pushed off again, and I say good riddance. I mean, who gives a fuck?
Everybody, that's going to be a fantastic film.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about it. I don't think they can help anything at this point. It didn't, that one trailer they released some months back, it did not feel like Ghostbusters at all.
I didn't even watch it.
I mean, they were trying to put like some sound cues from Ghostbusters in the trailer and in the audio, like, like down, 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 down. Not the, that little sound you hear right before it goes into the dun, 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 dun. Like they were throwing in those cues a little bit, but it didn't feel like Ghostbusters at all.
They fucking sat on their hands too long. They completely just ruined there's no excitement for this movie for me. And that maybe the fact that we're so like we have such low expectations mean it could wow us.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that it'll be just okay. It won't be like that female Ghostbusters, which was just terrible, and it looked terrible. But no, I feel when a movie waits this long to make a true follow-up, when to the point where you have decades separating it, you're never going to capture the original vibe, because the original Ghostbusters, both of them were in the 80s, 84, 89. And so we've already passed the 90s. We've already passed the, early 2000s. We've passed the 2010s now. Now we're in the 2020. So we're talking about 3 whole decades have passed, and we're now in a 4th decade since the 80s. So, I mean, it's no doubt going to feel like a movie that came out in the 2000 early 20s. But because of that, because what we know of Ghostbusters is those movies that were time capsules of the mid to late 80s, it's not going to feel the same. I mean, those were all about a lot of practical effects, a lot of stop motion shit. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a whole different thing. But anyway, not looking forward to that. I also read recently Tim Burton is doing an Addams Family series reboot. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with like the classic show. I know Barry Sonnenfeld did the movies in the 90s, which were great. I don't think those could be topped. I'm surprised Tim Burton hasn't already tried to dabble in the Addams Family. Mm-hmm. But
I bet it'll be starring fucking what's Johnny Depp, and he'll have crazy hair.
So let's see what this says here. Batman and Beetlejuice director Tim Burton is developing the TV series reboot of the Addams Family. Burton is in negotiations to direct all of the episodes as well. Let's see. Wednesday Addams will be the lead of the show, which is set to be in present day. All right.
They should modernize it, make her like a big titty, like hot fucking Wednesday Addams, like fucking 20 years old, fucking hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the fucking movies were amazing. I actually rewatched the first 2 movies from the 90s in the last couple of weeks. Those are some of my go-tos for Halloween. I think they're awesome.
What if it's Wednesday Addams in the modern world trying to like find love and stuff like that, and she's just the oddball out. She's always talking about, fucking dead things and all this shit.
And she'll be going on Tinder and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. But those movies, though, it's one of the rare instances where the sequel's even better than the first one, because Addams Family Values tops the original just a little bit, but they're both really, really good. Only other news bit I have is, speaking of Batman, when I mentioned it with Tim Burton, is the heavy rumor right now is that there was all this talk about Michael Keaton joining the cast of that Flash movie, because they were going to kind of do this whole... there's a series of Flash comic books where it splits up the dimensions, and it looked like they were going to do, because Ben Affleck was going to be in it. They was like, okay, so it's going to have Ben Affleck's Batman, but they also confirmed like Bruce Wayne played by Michael Keaton. So it tells they're a new Flashpoint. They were going to do all these split timelines, and I'm like, all right. I mean, I could give a shit about DC movies these days, but I'm a sucker for Michael Keaton. Anyway, the stronger rumors now is maybe that's not the case, and that he's actually signed on to do an HBO Max series for Batman Beyond. Now, if it's just a standalone Batman series starring Michael Keaton on HBO and it has no connection to all these shitty DCU characters like the Jason Momoas and the Zack Snyder people, I'm actually on board. I would watch that all day long, actually. Keep it as pure as possible, because it'll just be basically old Bruce Wayne, like the old Bruce Wayne, I guess, from the Batman movies we knew from Burton.
I want to see him fucking Catwoman in it. We need that.
It's HBO. They can get away with it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now there's really not a whole lot else with news. I don't really know if there's a lot of new releases coming out. Fucking Vestron Blu-rays have gotten dirt cheap, which is great. So I just picked up Shivers, which I hadn't seen before, for like $9.99. That's on Amazon. I mean,
Beta should have got Little Monsters.
I've seen that a million times. It's all right. That's movie's fun enough. But yeah, Best. Yeah. So like it's kind of cool to see some people lowering their prices on that stuff. I know Scream Factory's been having their October a sale that they always have every year. It's tempting always to do a little bit of dipping into that stuff, but it is what it is. A lot of the stuff I want is stuff I don't need, because it's just re-releases. Like, oh, now we're releasing a steelbook of Motel, or steelbook of this. I'm like, I've already bought these a million times. And from Scream Factory. So, but yeah, I don't know. So I guess we should just talking about what we've been watching. So Zach, what have you been into?
Oh yeah, I watched the new Bull Rat movie, which I talked about a little bit on our live stream, and yeah, like it was funny, and I laughed a lot, and it wasn't as fun as the first one, and I think it's just because the pandemic stuff and everything, and it's like it's too close to home. I think, whether or not this one stands the test of time like the original did, it's going to be like, whether or not, 10 years from now, it's like we see stuff about the pandemic and like, are we gonna be like, oh fuck that just puts me in a bad mood or not? Like, yeah. So I had fun with it. I gave it a 7, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, I was looking at that movie, and then they also have the original Borat streaming too, and I was just looking at it, seeing it came out in 2006. I'm like, holy shit, 14 years ago. Mm-hmm. If you would have asked me before I saw that, I would have guessed like 2009 or 10, but 2006, man, it's like way back. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know where the time goes, but
that fucking the original is a fucking 10 out of 10 for me.
I only watched it the once in theaters, but I know it got pretty fatigued by just pop culture and everybody nonstop quoting it and shit, like that whole Austin Powers syndrome too. But when we saw it in theaters, I've never seen a crowd laugh harder than that first Borat movie. And I was dying laughing the whole time. Like the whole time we couldn't catch our breaths. It was so funny. It was literally, it didn't let up. Like before you could even finish laughing about what you were just previously given, there was some other gag. And he's like, you couldn't keep your breath. My buddy at the time, there was a point where he was literally dry heaving, and I thought he was going to pass out or have a fucking heart attack. Like, what's going on? But it was a really, really good time. And I just remember it kicks off really good with because they're in Kazakhstan, and there's the whole like the Jew festival and the Jew egg, and they're breaking Jew egg. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it came out swinging. What else have you been watching? I think we should just go through all your shit first instead of going back and forth.
I watched The Babysitter, the new sequel, Killer Queen.
I just watched that too last night.
Not nearly as fun as the original. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Could take it or leave it. What'd you think of it?
Well, I mean, I'll obviously get. I agree with you. It wasn't as good as the last one. I think I gave the last one a 7, and I think I gave this one a 6. But yeah, it's like whatever. But it's basically the similar type of thing. I think it was still fun enough, but it wasn't as fun as the last one. It was a completely different vibe to me, different type of movie.
I remember thinking like up until a certain point, I was thinking a 6, but then I felt like it kind of dropped the ball a little bit. And I remember thinking like, oh, did they film this the same time they did Bill and Ted? Because she shows up for like, one scene, and yeah.
Yeah.
I also watched Underworld for the first time. I've always heard like, oh yeah, it's a really good action movie. I thought it was okay.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those movies.
I watched the first one. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I don't have any interest. But yeah, what did I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, some of the stuff, if you guys listen to our BTM show, I might bring up because we record that more often, but I finally watched Hocus Pocus. A couple. These are all movies in October, so that's where I'll draw the line. I finally watched Hocus Pocus. I have seen pieces of that movie throughout my entire life, and so a lot of it I had seen. I've just never actually sat and watched it all tethered together. And I watched it, and it for me was just like a 5. It was whatever. I mean, but I think maybe that's because I have no sentimental, nostalgic attachment to it. If I can speak right,
I think it's because you're a soulless fucking fucker.
It was just like when I watched Indiana Jones for the first time as like an adult. I'm like, yeah, I think I just need to see this through kids' eyes to like it as much as these people do. But I thought it wasn't. I thought it was fine. It was whatever. I'll probably never watch it again,
Yeah.
But did you have any more, or was I interrupting you? Was I cutting you off?
You were. I watched Flowers in the Attic for the first time. I was all excited to see fucking like some incest, fucking our girl Christy Swanson fucking her brother and shit. Like, oh, this is gonna be hot shit. And they took out the incest in the movie. Not cool.
Wait, was that like in the book or something?
Yeah, that's what the movie was known. It's kind of funny because apparently they shot the movie and then they played it in front of an audience, and it was a bunch of people who loved the book apparently, and they were disgusted by the incest in the movie, so they took it out. That's funny.
Christy Swanson's hot. Who else is in it?
I don't fucking know.
Who played her brother?
I didn't recognize him. Let me look.
I mean, is the incest pertinent to the story, or is it one of those things they could take out of the book? Is it like a Stephen King fucking thing, plot porn? It's like, we can just easily take this out. It's in there for no reason.
Jeb Stuart Adams played the brother. He was in Goonies, and he played Troy's friend number 1.
Oh. But no, tell me, is the incest pertinent to the story, or is it just something that they could have taken out, like they did?
It's pretty pertinent to the story because, like, we find out, like, spoiler alert, we find out that the kids themselves are incest babies. And so, like, yeah, they get locked in this fucking attic, and then, like, yeah, they start doing the incest. Yeah, they just took it out. It's weird.
So how do they have a story then if they took out something?
But I wasn't that depressed about halfway through because the fucking evil grandma gives Christy Swanson an ugly fucking haircut, and it's like, oh, she ain't hot anymore. So I didn't mind that they weren't fucking.
But if it's pertinent to the story, how do they take it out? What do they alter? They must have changed the story's trajectory somehow and changed it.
They didn't. It's just not there.
But the parents, the incest thread is there, just not with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that's dumb.
I watched fucking sci-fi original movie Pumpkinhead Ashes to Ashes. Never saw either of the fucking sci-fi sequels. It was poo. And I was gonna watch the fourth one. It's also a sci-fi sequel, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Yeah, I've been sticking to the scary movies since it's October. I watched Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. That's a fun one.
That's a fun one. Tales
from the Hood I watched Tales from the Hood 2. Tales from the Hood 2 is like, fucking, I gave it like a 4 out of 10.
I think they already got 3, don't they?
They did. They just put out 3. Since I liked Rushmore, I watched other Wes Anderson things that were streaming on Prime, and I watched The Life Aquatic and The Royal Tenenbaums. I like The Royal Tenenbaums more.
He's an acquired taste in general. Just Wes Anderson. I mean, I can only take so much of that dry type of humor he does.
See, that's my kind of humor. Yeah. So I like that. I liked Royal Tenenbaums. I gave it a 7. I gave Life Aquatic a 6. I watched Stranger Than Fiction, the only Will Ferrell like serious role.
Yeah.
I liked it okay. So I gave it a 7, babe. It was an interesting idea for a movie. I remember seeing the trailer for it and thinking, he did a movie worth of shit. I should check that out, and I just never did. And then I watched The Heartbreak Kid with Ben Stiller.
Is that any good? I know it's always streaming. Is it any good?
It's a Farrelly Brothers movie. It was okay for a comedy. I gave it like a 6. I was entertained. And Kung Fu Panda was streaming on HBO Max.
Oh, those are the better animated movies. Those are fun.
Yeah, I liked it. I gave it a 7. I saw like 2 and 3 were also on there, or 2 at least. I want to watch
Jean-Claude Van Damme is in the second one.
Donk. Oh, I watched that documentary, Feels Good Man. You hear anything about that? It's about that Pepe the Frog meme.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
It's actually pretty good. It's entertaining. Like the guy that made it and all.
How it just became something else.
Yeah, became like... Yeah, and it's weird. Like, I didn't even realize, like, fucking, like, I never was into 4chan or any of that stupid shit. So, like, I'm glad I never, like, knew anything about it because it seems really lame. But, like, it is pretty funny. Like it started out as some weird beta uprising thing where they were making fun of themselves. Like, yeah, we're all betas, but it's the beta uprising. Like, all that shit was really funny. And it kind of made me like, I kind of wish I did fucking sit at home on the internet more often back in the day so I could have known about this. But then again, I don't really care. I watched the Sweeney Todd Demon Barber movie. That was the fucking, what's his name?
Not for me. Sacha Baron Cohen's in that, Tim Burton, and then you got Johnny Depp, yeah.
I thought it was okay. I didn't, none of the music really did anything for me, but I thought it was a fun enough story and everything. I watched a movie from my childhood I used to watch all the time, Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
It was streaming on there. And yeah, I still liked it. Like, I always liked that growing up. It was fun. I don't know why. The fucking chick that played Josie was hot AF, and she just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Rachel Lee Cook, yeah, she was in She's All That, and then she had a couple of movies after that, and it's just like she vanished.
It also has fucking
Tara Reid. Tara Reid, and it has what's her face from
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson, yeah.
I didn't know she, like, I grew up watching that and I never knew Rosario Dawson existed until Clerks 2. Weird.
Well, she was in Kids. That's kind of like, I think, where she got her start, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot too. That was streaming on HBO, and also Flipper, movie I saw as a kid. So I watched that with Elijah Wood and fucking the guy from Crocodile Dundee.
Paul Hogan, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's okay. It's a 5. I saw that in the theater, and that was the first time I watched a movie in the theater where, like, just like halfway through the movie, they introduced a fucking shark. And I was scared because it was a big screen. It was like a hammerhead shark. I was like, fuck. And I was like, yeah, I remember I almost like looked over at my dad like, can we just leave? But I didn't.
When's that Street Sharks live action movie dropping? Some big slam-moo action.
Yeah, we need that. And we also need a sharksploitation. It would be funny to listen to me like cringe at sharks on screen.
No, I mean, that's come up. I think we got to do sharksploitation, but I feel like we got to do some of the offbeat shark movies. We can't do the obvious shit. We can't do Jaws. I mean, maybe. But there's a lot of fun, like really fucking offbeat shark movies. And I really do think it would be fun to have a marathon of the Street Sharks cartoon.
That'd be dog.
Because there's only one season, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could probably knock that out in a couple of sessions. You know, I don't know.
Did you ever see that video of fucking Vin Diesel selling Street Sharks merch?
Yeah, you sent it to me before.
Fucking weirdest thing.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's total alpha, is he like the Street Sharks.
Did he have hair? He had hair, right? He had that,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, those toys were badass, man. Maybe it's just because of how I'm looking at it with rose-colored lenses or whatever, but like I feel like the toys back in my heyday were badass.
Mm-hmm.
And those toys were fucking cool, man. You could throw a fucking street shark at your friend, man, and it would fuck his face up.
Yeah.
Do you remember they were heavy? And it was kind of cool how they were soft but hard on the inside, so it kind of made it feel like actual skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the rubber you can kind of push down on it. And I remember, do you remember the Primal Rage action figures?
Yeah.
Which that was weird. I mean, now it's very common for them to make video game merchandise, and you could go into a Toys R Us when they were still open, or you could go into Target even, and you could find Mortal Kombat figures and stuff. That's not super weird now, and now they sell like tons of fucking Mario and Zelda shit. I mean, it's super exploited. But back in like the mid 90s, man, they were selling Mortal Kombat G.I. Joe figures. I remember those were a thing. But yeah, to go into a Target or a Walmart and see these Primal Rage action figures, which Primal Rage was this arcade game that almost never was. It was, I remember it being a big deal, but it wasn't. It was one of those things where they were pushing it to take off, but it didn't quite take off. Mm-hmm. And like they canceled the second one even. But they had these killer toys. Like they came out swinging. Like, yeah, this is going to be a hit. We're capitalizing. We're going to come out with an arcade, immediately come out with the Genesis and the Super Nintendo ports, and we're going to come out with an action figure line. Well, the action figures were fucking cool, man. They were so cool. We at least had a Chaos and a Blizzard. That was the red ape and the blue ape. And they were fucking awesome. And I kind of wish I want to go online and actually see if I can find them. I think they're not super cheap, but I'd like to own them.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And that's a game I wish I liked. I go back and I've played the arcade MAME, like the ROM of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, I remember this being so cool. And I remember when I never really got to play the arcade, but I rented my mom gave me a little bit of money to go rent a movie at that little mom and pop shop I always talk about. But I came back with a video game. And, I think I thought I was going to get like a yelling at or whatever, because not everybody can watch, but she didn't care. So I rented that on Super Nintendo. We had such fun playing it, but I always wanted to play the arcade because the arcade was so much better back then than the consoles. Like the consoles were all compromised. Usually the sprites were smaller, Yeah. And just something about that. You play the arcade, and the same thing with Mortal Kombat. The actual characters are bigger, they're bolder, they take up more of the screen. It's just everything about it's just better. And I've played the MAME in my adulthood. I'm like, man, this game's really not that good.
Did it maim you to death?
It maimed me to death. But anyway, those fucking toys are cool, though.
Was it a dank maim?
Yeah, that's another idea, too. We could also maybe try to do video game adaptation exploitation month, even though we've done Super Mario Brothers and Mortal Kombat. Like, there's Double Dragon. There's other movies out there we could do, There's quite a few. Mm-hmm. But anyway...
I rewatched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I saw it was streaming, and it was funny because I remembered watching it, and I still had my old rating saved on my IMDb. I gave it like a 5. Mm-hmm. I guess I just wasn't in the mood for like a slow movie and like all of it, because that's like a 9. That's a 9 out of 10, baby. Mm-hmm. I really liked it this time.
He deserved that Oscar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I watched, I'm thinking of ending things. I mentioned it a couple times on the podcast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it again because the first time I watched it, I was like, I am fucking lost. I don't get this at all. But then, like, I read, like, the book synopsis and it's like, oh, it's all making sense now. And, like, remembering it, it's like the rating went up and I'm looking forward to watching it again. But it's like over 2 hours long, so I haven't got the chance yet. But I'm looking forward to it, baby.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, anything else?
I watched a bunch of shark movies actually, like last month, and they were all like, I watched Deep Blue Sea 2, 47 Meters Down. I think 47 Meters Down, the first one was the best one. I gave it like a 4 out of 10.
Oh, Deep Blue Sea 2 is that bad?
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea 2 is literally like just a fucking remake of the first one. The third one was
Deep Blue Sea 3.
The third one was a little better, but it still wasn't very good.
Yeah.
There was a couple shots in the third one that like was some of the best like shark like the way a shark looks in like a newer shark movie. Like like if you know you're not really paying attention, you won't tell it's CG. It looked pretty good, like passing.
Well, speaking of shark movies, man, they just announced the Meg 2. Did you see the Meg?
I did. I didn't hate that as much as most people did.
Well, I would have liked it a little more if they just would have went all out and it would have been R-rated.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those things where it was announced as R-rated, and then studio stepped in, and it became neutered and PG-13. And I'm like, man, because the movie itself is shit. It was one of those movies that's just trying to please the Chinese audience, which, by the way, fucking America needs to stop doing that. We need to stop bending over to China with that shit, because now they're controlling how our movies are made. Because, you know, they have the second highest market. Which this year they technically became the highest market because they opened up and America's not really showing movies anymore. So this is like the first time ever they're number one. But yeah, we make all these fucking movies now and we kind of bend to their bullshit. But the Meg is like that. It's entirely all Chinese cast. There's stuff. It's not even, I don't mind that, but it's just like they take out things that are offensive to them. And we have to dance around them.
Yeah, I remember hearing that like Disney does this stupid thing where they'll try to score points by saying like, oh, there's a gay character in the movie. And then it's like a character that like reveals they're gay for like 2 lines so that they can easily cut it out of the China version because they have like a law against having gay characters in movies. That's some stupid shit. That's like the opposite of what you're trying to do. Like, we're woke, but like, you know, we'll censor it for people that are offended.
No, and all that says is Disney, you're just nothing but a shill because, hey, look, we're woke and we want to do this stuff to please the American audience so we can get money. But at the same time, we don't want to do it. We want to make it easily retractable so we can make money from China and please them. It's really stupid. Anyway, I think we should just fucking stop bending to their will. But anyway, the Meg is terrible. You can tell the thing is a total Chinese. It's got a Chinese production company to it. And the movie's not good and it's schlocky. Dialogue's terrible. The acting is horrendous. But if it was over the top stupid violence, it would have been redeeming. It would have been like, okay, well, I know this is stupid. I know I'm eating a giant pixie stick here. I'm not eating a 4-course meal. I'm eating sugar, just stupid sugar. But yeah, it's like we have all that stupid shit that comes with a schlocky movie, but none of the fucking blood. And at first I thought, because I remember when they announced it was going to be R-rated, and then I remember when then it got backtracked and it became PG-13, and I was like, well, maybe there's going to be a director's cut on the Blu-ray, but you know that never came because what ended up happening is like, no, when they fucking stepped in, it was like right before they started filming, so there's no director's cut that's violent. It's all as is. With that said, I actually bought the Steelbook 4K because it was a flash deal on Best Buy for 24 hours for like $3. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll buy it for this. And I haven't gone back to watch it again. But anyway, they're making a second one because of that China market. Because I don't think it was a big hit in America at all. I think it like tanked. But in China, man, they made bank because they had those Chinese actors and they had all that shit. But maybe they'll fucking make it R-rated. Maybe that's what America needs. Dude, fucking if you're all about playing the field and just pleasing whoever, dude, make an R-rated version. All your blood's going to be digital anyway. Just make a version that's fucking bloody and make one that's not. Like, what's that going to hurt? I'll definitely be more into it because I like Jason Statham. I like eating pixie sticks. It's fine. Give me stupid shit, but like it has to have redeeming quality.
Pixie sticks are dog. See, everybody buy some pixie sticks. Make sure you give that to kids on fucking Halloween.
Dude, all the best stupid cheesy action movies starring action heroes that can't act, what's the best part of that stuff? You know, the funny stupid dialogue and the action, the stupid blood. But if you take out all that shit and you just have really bad acting and a poor story, like what the fuck is this? So that's my thing with the Meg. But that's a movie we could consider doing, you know, for that Rainn Wilson's in that, and he's so unlikable. He's just an unlikable actor. I don't like him. And I've tried watching him in interviews, or I've listened to him on podcasts, and he's pretty insufferable. Like he's one of those Kramer type characters where he played a comedic role, and you would think, oh my God, everybody loves Dwight or everybody loves Kramer. He's probably just like that in real life, and he's not funny.
Oh, I like that guy,
Rainn Wilson.
Yeah, he's in he's in Super, which is a great film.
Yeah, and he's in Hesher, and he's in I actually never seen the Super, but I know he's in it. But have you ever listened to him talk in an interview?
I haven't, no.
Listen to him on a podcast. He reminds me of Michael Richards, where, wow, you're nothing like the persona you're most famous for. He tries to be funny, but he's not. I don't know. He's just not a very fun guy. Kind of like Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's not funny either.
Fucking Kramer was so funny, he couldn't even apologize for being racist without getting a laugh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know.
I stole that joke, and I thought it was way funnier when I heard it.
No. Well, anyway, are you done with your watches? Should I get into my list?
No, I'm not.
Damn.
I also watched The Interview. The fucking Seth Rogen and
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite stupid pot Seth Rogen movies, like stoner comedies.
I liked it a lot. I gave it an 8. And it's funny because like I remember like when Seth Rogen and all these movies were coming out, I stayed away from them because it's like
it was overkill.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck.
Something about Seth Rogen just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it's kind of funny that I'm watching them now, and I'm like, these are kind of right up my alley. Like, why'd I stay away from these?
Well, and it's also kind of like an Adam Sandler, Happy Madison vibe, where it's all the same like regular players that are in all the movies, you know?
Yeah, and that's totally a plot that should have been used for one of the Mac and Zack sequels. We go to stop fucking Kim Jong-un.
And just the controversy around all that shit when that movie came out and it got halted from being in well, that they were groundbreakers in the sense that this was before we had A-list stars making these Netflix movies, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it was a big deal. It was supposed to be in theaters, and then it got halted and threatened by Kim Jong-un, and then it got regulated to just being a Netflix movie. And at the time, it's like, whoa, a Seth Rogen, James Franco movie just going straight to Netflix? It's like, it sounds fucking like too low bar for them, but now it's the norm. Mm-hmm. And it probably got more eyes because I think it would have been a hit too in theaters because they were hot at the time. But I think it's the funniest movie they've put out, and I love it. And it's so stupid. And James Franco cracks me up in that movie. Like, I got the stink dick, and just all that stupid shit is so funny. And the guy that plays Kim Jong-un, he's that guy from that. I think he's on Fresh Off the Boat. He's a likable actor. He's really likable, and he does the role really, really funny and really well. I love it when they show his big fat ass when he's getting changed, dude. And it's clearly not the same actor.
Oh yeah.
Everything about it's really, 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 really fun. And I think it's, for it being a stupid, dumb comedy, I think it's actually pretty smart. It's pretty clever. Mm-hmm. You know, just the satire of it all. And I think it was kind of ballsy just fucking doing it, man. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And once again, us fucking bending over to what somebody we don't like says. Oh, you're hurting my feelings. I'm going to threaten you. Don't put it out. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good one. I'm surprised you haven't seen that one.
I didn't. And then another Netflix movie. I watched Horse Girl with Alison Brie. They were they were really pushing that, and then it came out, and people like didn't like it, and then like they stopped really pushing it. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I enjoyed it enough. Like, it's rated pretty. Like, it's underrated, I think. Like,
yeah. Well, it's just one of those victims of these Netflix originals that just get buried under these ones. You know, there's a lot of them coming out.
I think people just didn't know what to expect, and it's kind of like she's playing a character that starts. Basically, she's going through like a mental breakdown, and like she's finding out that she might be schizophrenic. And you don't know if like shit is really happening or what. And I liked it okay. I gave it a 7.
Speaking of Alison Brie, they fucking canceled that last season of Glow that was supposed to wrap it up. They announced it. They announced it. It was going to go into production. They said it was going to be the final season. And then they just fucking reneged on it. Like, yeah, you know, we're actually not going to do it. Like, what the fuck? They
did the same thing with that one show with the girl from It. She played Beverly Marsh.
The psychic powers thing.
Yeah, and so their excuse is like, oh yeah, it's because of the COVID. But like, what if like secretly they don't want to admit that like a bunch of people canceling their subscription because of that France movie like the fucked them up or something?
Yeah,
that would actually piss me off. I'd be like, "Fuck you, all you people."
Look, and I don't know who said it. It might have been Riverman. I think we were like trading comments about this whole topic. But watch, I mean, they're gonna raise the costs of Netflix again, and that'll be them passing down the loss of subscribers down to the people that still subscribe. Right? They lost some people because of some stupid controversy, and they're gonna pass those costs down to us. And they're gonna be like, okay, well, it's time to bump it up by another $1.25 a month.
And it just boils down to like greed, because it's just like, well, we don't want to, we want to write off this fuck up. Like you don't have to, raise it. Like, what the fuck? Apparently, like they never made a profit though, which is funny.
Is that still on there, or do they take it off, Cuties?
I think it's still on there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't. At first, they were playing hardball, like we stand behind it, whatever. There's nothing on there. But I'm surprised they haven't bent over and be like, look, okay, we can't fucking. I would understand at this point, Damage Control. I mean, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know how fucking.
I would think they're a bunch of pussies if they did.
I don't know.
Even if they kept it up and it's like, we're going to censor all the things people are so sad about, like, I'd be like, fucking pussies.
I haven't watched it, so I have no idea what really, if there really is anything to.
Like, apparently you can't really get a good grasp on what's actually in it unless you watch it, because so many people were going to IMDb and lying about shit that's in it.
Yeah.
Like they were editing the parental guideline thing. Basically, it's a section to click on for like parents to know like what kind of shit's in there. And they were lying about like, oh, it shows a 14-year-old girl with her top off. It's like, no, like that wasn't a 14-year. That girl was overage.
I can't, I can't comment. I've not seen it, so I'm not going to be pro or against anything because I don't fucking know. But all I know is, and I mentioned this, is there was big media outlets running with headlines, like saying stuff like that. Like, Netflix show has underage girls topless and shit like that.
I mentioned in that episode that movie I watched, Fat Girl, was made at a time when it was legal to have underage girls topless. So now, assuming it's illegal. So apparently, apparently they didn't break any laws and shit like that. So besides censor it here in America, I don't know what we could do to make people happy.
I mean, I don't know, but we have big media outlets that were running with that. They were just taking the headlines, they were taking the hearsay, and then running these articles. And of course, you would on all of them there would be like updated. And it would be like Netflix has actually reached out to us and said there's actually no nudity. Like, okay, well, why don't you guys actually like do your research? Maybe it's because people don't actually want to watch it. It's like, oh, we'll just take your word for it because we're not going to watch it if it has that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Apparently, from what I heard, it's just a so-so movie that would have just completely gotten forgotten if it wasn't for the controversy. Wouldn't that be funny if they tried to kind of like at the beginning try to create a little controversy, but then people just ran with it and it got out of their hands?
Look, here's the thing though. I mean, if they don't really show anything, then maybe it's just more bark than bite, because there's other worse movies out there that just don't have a spotlight on them. What about movies where kids are depicted as getting raped and abused? Like, to me, that's tough to watch. I remember this fucking movie. I don't think the movie was very good because I don't remember much about it, but it was this movie called Hound Dog with Dakota Fanning. You ever heard of it?
No.
It was when she was a kid still, and when she was actually getting work. But all I remember is I think it took place like in the 50s, and there was this sort of like rural Alabama or some southern state, Mississippi, maybe like Mississippi, farm, like family. And I think the daughter was played by Dakota Fanning. She had a southern accent, and there was it was 60s. It was 50s. It was 50s because anyway, so there was this one older guy. I don't know if he was like a stable boy, if he worked on the farm. I don't remember. But he was getting a little too close to her, like building too much of a weird friendship with her, and then, gaining her trust, grooming her. Mm-hmm. And I remember there was a scene where, he told her, hey, I got you Elvis tickets. Elvis, and she loved Elvis, and he told her to meet her out in the barn, and he was going to give her the tickets. Well, he didn't give her the tickets. He fucking raped her. Or
that it was Elvis, because
yeah. This is a biopic.
I wonder if that was a conscious thing.
Yeah, well, I was like, and I have to reveal I am Elvis. This is how you get your tickets. But no, he it might have been one of those things where like, okay, you got to pay me for these tickets. I don't remember what it was, but it was really fucking uncomfortable. It was really unsettling, just kind of watching two actors, a grown man actor having to play this role. Can you imagine playing a part against like fucking 9-year-old Dakota Fanning or how old the fuck she was, and you have to play this role? And she was like, it was uncomfortable. Just there was no nudity in it, but just the dialogue of it, of the actual grooming. And then you would see when she was getting raped, you would just see like an off-camera shot of her hand, like grabbing like hay because she was getting raped. And I'm like, dude, this is way fucking worse than watching a fucking 6-year-old cheerleader. I don't know what the fuck. What you guys are smoking.
Imagine if a Serbian film came out and went straight to like Netflix and had like that kind of like everybody knew about it rather than just the horror community knowing about it. I
also don't really think Netflix has too much of a filtering process. Do they really screen these movies? I don't really know if they screen many of these movies.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the last thing I got is I'll only bring it up because I'm pretty sure we haven't mentioned it on the Cinema Enemy yet, but Bill and Ted Face the Music that came out, and we did commentary, and we went all out for that. You can check out our commentary, but yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Hopefully it goes up as it ages and everything.
Just tonight, just like a couple hours ago, man, I went to Target and they had the Bill and Ted action figures, and the NECA put out. They look cool.
I thought about getting that, but the one I saw didn't like. I was like, it doesn't really look like them, so I didn't. Is it NECA put these ones out?
Yeah, and dude, I don't know if it really shows in the picture I sent really well, but it looks just like fucking Ted.
Are they going to put out the Bogus Journey versions?
I don't know, but this one was cool. You know, they're posable, something you can put on your desk, but it looked just like Ted, and it had, even down like his big ass smile on his face. It looked like the expressions, and I can't remember. NECA has different like price tiering. Like you can buy those $30 NECAs, and they have like the flip open flap case, you know, where you can just flip it open and look at it from the inside. And they usually come with different heads you can exchange and a lot of different stuff like that. Then they have the line that's like $17 or $18. That's like the Bill and Ted, and there's no heads that you can take off and replace with different facial expressions. But it looked fucking awesome, and they were cheaper. And then they just announced like this. They had them there at Target, and they were pretty cool, like really stripped down. Like the box was rather stripped down, but like they had like the T-800 exoskeleton, or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. And it was cool. I'm like, wow, you don't get it has a gun and all this shit. It doesn't have like all the shit you can like swap out the heads and stuff, and it doesn't have like the fancy box. But they're only $11.99. So if it's something you just want to take out of the box and put on your desk, the price is right on those.
Hopefully they do like a Bogus Journey one, because that would be awesome to have. Like they could also do Death and like Station.
Yeah, and those ones are not too expensive, but like I said, they're like $30 line, man. I mean, the thing is like I have some of that stuff, and you don't really actually utilize all the different heads and shit. You just pick one you like, and you just throw the rest in the box in a closet somewhere. You don't actually use it. So I'd rather not pay $30. If that shit was more in the $12 to $17 price range, I'd probably buy a few more of them. But anyway, they looked really cool. And they had a Keanu Reeves coloring book, which was really odd.
I would have bought that.
I almost did because it was so cool. And every page is like a day in the life of Keanu Reeves. It's like the day in the life. And the first page is him in
a picture.
The first page was him in the shower and then him shaving in the mirror. And it's accompanied by the page on the left that it gives you like a dialogue of what he's doing that day. And what did it say on the one I sent you? I'm gonna look at the picture again. It was really funny.
It was him. It was him laying in like a hammock outside.
Yeah. So okay, here it is. It says, swaying in the sun like a god among men, Keanu knows how to take it easy. Sit back, relax, and enjoy being gently rocked into your daydreams. And he looks like
amazing.
Yeah, he looks like a pinup guy, like a playgirl. And he's just like laying there with his big pecs, dude. And he's like looking at you like with those fuck me eyes. It's really funny though. I might buy it just for fucking fun.
Isn't that weird how the narrative's changed on him? Like I remember I was like defending, like I liked the Reeves back in the day, and like I went back and listened to we did the Knock Knock commentary, and I was like I always liked the Reeves, and you're like, yeah, he's terrible. I like that he kind of like rubbed off on you later, and then like after you watched John Wick.
I always liked Bill and Ted though. I always liked Bill and Ted, but that was it for me.
Like, yeah,
but now I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. He's really likable. And because, I really like the John Wick movies now that I can see it. I like all the John Wick movies. But I mean, I still stand by that. I wasn't into the dramatic shit that he was doing in the 90s. That I don't like A Walk in the Clouds. I don't like Feeling Minnesota.
Oh, where he has sex with fucking what's her name,
Cameron Diaz. But I just didn't get it. And I really didn't like Constantine, which is so funny because people like that movie now, but people fucking hated it when it came out. But now people like it.
I remember I wanted to watch it and I never did.
But it's funny though, people have really shifted on that. People did not like it when it came out, but now people like it. But I didn't.
Was a guy that was popular to shit on for a while. Yeah.
And I saw that in theaters. I remember it had Shia LaBeouf in like a supporting role, and this is before he was really Shia LaBeouf. This is like right after Even Stevens.
Yeah, this is before he got buff.
It was before he became a Steven Spielberg like paycheck and a Michael. It was right before Transformers. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of weird to see him in it.
Now he's getting like his body covered in tattoos for a role, and then
for nothing, for movies that people pan.
Yeah, who's gonna fucking hire him for other roles now? Is he gonna get him removed?
And the movie wasn't worth it because people shit on it. David Ayer was a one-trick pony, man. End of Watch is what he got all the praise for, which is a great movie. I really liked it, but just everything else he's put out has been okay at best. You know, they've all been very flawed. You know, like I want to like.
Oh, they say geniuses are never realized until their death, until after they're dead.
Are we talking about Shia LaBeouf or Keanu or David Ayer?
David Ayer.
I've
never seen any of his shit.
Watch End of Watch. That's the movie that put him on the map. That one's good with Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's kind of it's a cop movie kind of in the vein of like a reality cop show, and a lot of it's kind of shot. It's like on chest cam style, like on their body cams, but it's really 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 good. And then so I remember he came out with Sabotage after that, which I was excited for because Arnold was in it. And I'm like, okay, this is when Arnold just got back in acting when he was done with politics. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is for him to get in bed with David Ayer, who's kind of a hot director right now, coming off that movie. Like it could be good. And the movie's just a fucking mess. It could be good. And I don't totally hate it, but the editing is so shit.
Did they have the Beastie Boys song in it?
I do not think so.
That's why it fucking failed.
It actually looks a lot like it very much looks kind of like a End of Watch top movie. The aesthetics there, but it's just whatever. It's just I blame the editing. The editing is garbage. I don't know what they were fucking thinking, but you know when that hit the fucking block, when that was done and it had to get presented to the studio, it had to have been on a timeline or something because there's no way. I guarantee you, someone like David Ayer watched this. I'm like, man, fuck, we have to submit this. We don't have any time to go back to the editing room because there's a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
But because there's just no way in hell they actually, you know when there's movies like that, like people aren't that stupid. There's no way they like this. They know it has problems.
Yeah, you can always tell whenever a movie's like really feels like it has a stride going and then it just kind of shits that like something had to happen. Yeah.
Well, watch it. It's got real editing problems. Like there's real fucking messed up continuity issues, and you can tell it's all editing. It's all editing,
yeah.
And it's like what the fuck, and it makes it a fucking like to the point where it really confuses you. And there's a lot of back and forth between. Like, hey, what happened 2 days ago and what's happening now? And there's no clear things that tell you when that is. And it's really hard to follow because of it. And it's not just me, man. I mean, I know I'm kind of a fucking dummy sometimes, but it's just a fucking wreck. And if I was David Ayer, he's probably like, fuck, man, I'd love to go back and do a re-edit of this and put it out because it could be good. But it's just one of those things where no one wants to give him money to do it. It's just
we need fucking DLC movies.
No, yeah, for sure.
The patch update for the fucking new movies.
Yeah, no, I mean, fucking yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be. It's so different than these like producer cuts that come out or whatever. And I would, if let's put it this way, if the movie was a bigger hit, yeah, of course they throw money at those to give you like producer cuts and all this shit and stuff like that. But it wasn't a hit, and it was a sophomore slump for them, and so we'll never see any more work on it. But if for some reason they did come out with a new cut, I would watch it in a second because you could tell there's a really good movie in there. But I don't know where I got off on a David Ayer thing. I don't know where that came from, but we were talking about toys and shit and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, you can go through your list of movies you watched.
To keep things going, I definitely want to get into the topic of the hour, so I'm just going to kind of blast through mine. There's some embarrassing shit on my list, but keep in mind, I don't always pick these movies, and I'm just going to go through everything I've watched in October thus far. So get ready for it. Starting on October 1st, baby, Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Amazing.
I watched that Dora movie, and it was dog shit.
It sounds amazing. Based on Dora the Explorer, right?
Yeah, you remember that?
I remember the show. I never watched it though.
It came out last year, I think, or a year or two. Yeah, I think it was like a year ago. They made a live action Dora movie, and it was like, I think it was more like PG or PG-13. It wasn't exactly directed at kids, and it was Dora and Diego grown up a little bit.
I was going to ask if Diego showed up.
Yeah, Diego's in it. So, and the chick that played, I call her Sexy Dora. This chick, Isabella Merced, I think it's, I don't remember how you pronounce her name, but she's actually kind of hot. And I can say that because she's like 19 or 20, so it's all good. And so I'm like, oh, and she's like, oh, it's Sexy Dora. Can we watch Sexy Dora? Yeah, the movie kind of sucked. It wasn't good. So, but and that was like I gave it 2 stars just because she's kind of hot, but it's not good.
We sound like such assholes doing this show. I love it. It's funny.
I don't know, but it wasn't good. It's one of these movies that they were trying to make a popcorn movie.
This chick didn't have nice enough tits. I gave it a 2.
No. I said she's the reason why I gave it 4 out of 10.
I know. I'm just playing.
Yeah, I'm actually giving her compliments. But I watched. I don't think I'm sure I'll get to it. I watched that Netflix movie, which, by the way, Netflix is not on a good streak with me. Their originals, for the most part, the movies, they're not very good to me. I mean, I see good ones sometimes, but I watched that Enola Holmes.
Oh, with 11.
Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty. It's got really nice cinematography, and the set designs are really cool. You know, they nail the aesthetic of like Sherlock Holmes and old like 19th century England and shit. But the movie was a slog. It was boring. I mean, I'm looking on here and I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I think I was just kind of being nice. Like I don't even know. I'll never watch it again. I've already forgotten almost everything about it. So I mean, 5 out of 10 is pretty generous. I think I might have to amend that, but it wasn't very good. I watched. Let's see. Oh, speaking of 90s movies, shit that, you're talking about Josie and the Pussycats. There's a lot of those movies that I never got around to watching. I watched 10 Things I Hate About You. Do you remember that?
I do. I never saw it, though.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people that are in my demo and your demo, they look back on that movie kind of fondly, too, as one of those late 90s. And it's got Heath Ledger in his first American role. It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's got David Krumholtz. It's got It's got what's her name? The fucking Julia Stiles. She doesn't really act anymore, I don't think.
I remember I did see one scene from that movie, and it was the scene with that guy Krumholtz, and they were like going down the hill, and I laughed because he said, "My balls." Yeah,
it's funny. That's a pretty funny.
I was that young that made me laugh.
It's a pretty funny scene though. Yeah, because his bike goes off the hill and he's just falling. Yeah. And then it's got Larissa Olnick in it. She played Alex Mack.
Oh yeah, Adventures of Alex Mack, the TV show.
So, and this movie
Did she turn into a Capri Sun commercial in it?
No. And this movie I think came out in '99, right, or something like that. So yeah, this would have been like a couple of years after Alex Mack, but yeah, I remember she was in the Babysitter's Club live action movie with Rosie O'Donnell, and I remember from that, but she kind of fell off after that. But she had a big role in that. She's like the object of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, this like new kid in school, like he's trying to get with her. And it's also got that Andrew something. I don't remember if you know his face if you see it, but he was all over those Tiger Beat magazines in the 90s with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. And shit like that, and he might have even been on a lot. He was on a lot of those ABC shows too. Like, you know, he was clearly like a Disney fucking licensed actor or something.
Was it one of those guys with 3 names?
I don't remember, but it's so weird. It's like, wow, this must have been the last thing he was in because it was kind of even late. Like it's like seeing Jonathan Taylor Thomas in a hit movie in 1999. Like, oh fuck,
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, one of those 3 name guys, yeah.
And I've mentioned it before on previous podcasts, but I watched that American Murder, The Family Next Door, that documentary about those horrific murders.
Still need to watch it.
It was pretty harrowing. It's effective because it almost has a sleazy exploitation feel because it's almost like, why are they capitalizing this off of this? Because it just happened. It just happened not 2 years ago, so it's real fresh in the memory.
We're fucking obsessed with like true crime stuff nowadays, yeah.
And it's not a traditional documentary where they have commentary. You know, they'll talk to somebody about the whole thing is put together with nothing but Facebook vlogs because the victim, the mom, she vlogged all the time. Like lucky for Netflix and their bottom line that she was having their back on this. She vlogged like her marital problems. She was vlogging about her kids. Like all this stuff was very public. So they used nothing but vlog videos. They used FaceTime videos, I think, and they used news footage and they used police footage. And they just compile. So a lot of it is footage that was already available. Maybe not everybody's seen it, but it was all stuff that was available, and they just put it together in a way. And it's just it's enamoring. And this, when you watch it from the beginning, when they've got the footage and the body cam footage and shit like that of them interviewing him and he's lying through his teeth, all the way to the end when you're like in the interrogation room and he's still lying through his teeth, all the way to when he admits to it. It's like, it makes you want to go back and watch it again to when he's lying. Because it's real creepy. Because, you know, the person that's trying to interrogate him, that did the lie detector test, they're telling him, it's like, we knew you were guilty. When they finally got it out of him, like, we knew you were guilty the whole time. The second you walked in this room, I knew you were guilty. We just wanted to see how long you were going to go without telling the truth. Like, he kept spinning these tales. Like, they're just like, we were just waiting for you to fucking finally come clean. Like, I knew you were guilty. He's like, you want me to tell you? And they were talking about it. He's like, you can tell in the video, like the cop videos. Look at the body language. Look when they do this. Look at what he does here. Him putting his hands behind his head. That means, oh shit, I don't want them to see. Hopefully, I'm not in this video they're about to watch. Because like they go to the neighbor's house. They go to the neighbor's house and he has like security cam footage. And he's like, oh shit, and he didn't know about that. So they go to the neighbor's house with Chris, the guy that ended up doing it. And it's like, okay, let's watch this video. This is back when he's playing the dumb guy. Like, where's my wife and kid? And it's so funny because you see all this body language. And when they put in this videotape, yeah, he does get all tense. He puts his hands behind his head. He's like, look here, you're looking away when they're watching the footage. That's you saying, oh shit, I hope to God I'm not in this. I can't watch. And it's pretty fascinating, but you almost feel dirty watching it though. Anyway, because you want to know who made money off this, right? But anyway, so I watched Hocus Pocus. I mentioned that already. Hubie Halloween, that Netflix movie, which I thought was fun. If you like Halloween-y shit and stupid Adam Sandler, it's the best Adam Sandler movie I've seen in a while, besides Uncut Gems. I gave it a 6. It was fun.
I might watch it around Halloween, yeah.
It's got an earnest, scared, stupid kind of vibe, right? That kind of movie. So, and there's some laughs in it, so I recommend it. And it's good for kids, too.
It's got that chick from what's the girl from it? From she's also in Happy Gilmore, so they're teaming up again.
Yeah, and she was in Modern Family. Yeah, so yeah, it's got a lot of familiar faces and some faces we haven't seen, but it's got the regular players too. You know, Rob Schneider shows up, fucking Steve Buscemi, and they're funny, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely. I kind of want to watch it again. I think it's gonna be one of those movies that's gonna be very easily rewatchable too. So
that's funny that Steve Buscemi is the only guy out of that clique that's kind of still respected.
There's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie too, to classic Adam Sandler movies that are kind of fun to catch. Some are obvious, some are you got to dig a little bit more. Like there's a bully kid in it, and his name's O'Doyle, right? And it's just they do all that shit. And one of the like Steve Buscemi in the movie, he plays a guy that he suspects is transforming into a werewolf and he's killing people, right? That's the kind of thing. And he's wearing the same outfit he wore in Billy Madison, where he's like people to kill, and he puts the lipstick on. He's wearing that same like bowling type shirt. Just these little things are kind of fun. What else did I say? I watched that Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix.
I want to watch that. Yeah,
it was fine. I was talking about. I guess Josh James didn't like it so much. He said it was boring, and I told him. I said, for me, I thought it was fun. I thought it was more or less on par with Hill House. He liked Hill House a lot more. I'm like, I felt it was kind of on par. I feel like the last 2 episodes kind of become a soap opera. But there's some generally creepy episodes throughout it, and it's like 10 episodes too, and you know, whatever. It's probably like a 7 out of 10, probably like what I gave Haunted Hill House.
Yeah, I remember thinking like, yeah, the Hill House one, it could have worked a little better as like a 2-hour movie. So yeah, like I wish they would just kind of do that, not look at it like, oh, well, there's got to be 10 episodes because that's what we usually see in a season. Like if you only got like 6 episodes worth of good shit, just make 6 episodes.
I'm not saying they were bad per se, but like it just
but sometimes they stretch it out a little bit. Yeah,
it just took a dip. It became a real big like soap opera, like kind of it became more of a chick show in the last 2 seasons, and I'm like, it's not as. It wasn't as satisfying. We're in the middle of it, like from the start, like the first 8 episodes. There's some, you know, it's a haunted house story. It's pretty cool, but it was fun. And I watched Better Watch Out, as I discussed on a previous commentary we did, which that was a lot of fun. I went into that blind. I'd heard things about it. And 8 out of 10 easily. It was super fun.
Yeah, we should just say check that out. Like if you definitely around the holiday season, check it out. It's on Shudder. I think it was a Shudder original. And it's better if you go into it not knowing anything about it.
It's we're getting into this weird era where we're getting a lot of where the movies that are the better movies of the bunch that are coming out, they're derivative of other movies. Mm-hmm. They're doing a lot of. They're pulling a lot of resources from hit movies in the 80s and the 90s. And, like I said, it's just like music too, man. Like, I love death metal. Gatecreeper is probably the best death metal band out there, but it ain't nothing new. It's just like they're taking that Euro death metal sound from the early 90s and just doing it really, really well. If you like Entombed, you'll like Gatecreeper. Power Trip, you like old thrash metal. I know they were the business for a while. It's like they just sound like that. This is what movies are doing. This movie feels like part Home Alone. Yeah. Part I've already I think I wrote a review on it. There's like 3 movies I compared it to, like just mixed together, and they even make Home Alone references, right, with the paint cans.
There was a movie called, I forgot what it was called, but it was made in another country that Shudder put on too. It came out in the 80s. That was like a Home Alone Christmas evil Santa Claus type of movie. I watched that too. That was pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but I watched From Beyond for the BTM show. That's already up there. That was the first time I'd watched that. I watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers a few nights ago, 1978 version with Donald Sutherland. That was really good. And that's one that sat on. I gave it a 7, but it's like the next morning I'm like, I think that's an 8 because it's just it's got so much atmosphere and it's really, really good. And then I watched The Babysitter Killer Queen 2. I mean, I echo what Zach said. It's not as fun as the first one, but I thought it was still fun enough. 6 out of 10 probably. And then the newest movie I watched is what we're going to discuss now, which is a nice segue. I watched The Sixth Sense just a few hours ago, and that's Zach's pick for the Cinema Enema. Do you want to take a break and we'll go right into it?
If you want, baby.
I do.
We also were planning on doing a little special segment like movies to watch around Halloween. If you want to do that real quick, just like a list.
Yeah. And you might, maybe just edit this little fucking awkward shit out. Edit this out. All right, so go ahead and introduce that segment.
Baby. We play it.
Fine.
We awkward AF.
Well, then introduce the segment.
We embrace the cringe.
Introduce the segment and lead me through it. What is it you want to do?
Yeah, so since we're coming up on Halloween, we just I told him to make a quick list of some of movies he likes that are great to watch around Halloween, baby.
So, I didn't do that, but I have them in mind. I can do it. So you start though, so I can kind of get my.
I ended up with a pretty big list because I looked through my collection and just wrote all the ones I'd watch that for Halloween. So the first one I got is The Babadook, and I know you don't like it.
Don't like it.
Fucking beta kyak. The second one I know you love. It's Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he doesn't like to see. I think you should check it out without us doing a commentary. I got The Burning, which is it's a lot like Friday the 13th, but it was made before Friday the 13th, didn't come out till after. It's a fun one. Day of the Dead, classic. You ever hear of Death Dream by the guy that made he made that classic Christmas movie that everybody watched, The Christmas Story?
Yeah.
Shoot Your Eye Out. Mm-hmm. He made a movie called Death Dream, and it's derivative of the the monkey's paw type of story, and it's really good. It's about a family and their son dies during the war, and then he just shows up one day and something's off about him. It's good times, really good to watch around Halloween. Demons, which I know you watched a year ago because it was on something. Shudder. It's a fun movie. Really, gross out fucking shit in there. I got Ernest Scared Stupid, classic. Evil Dead, the original. I put The Faculty on here because I've been wanting to rewatch that again. And around Halloween would be a perfect time. That's a really fun one. That was the one that came out of the whole Scream, that 90s slasher revival. And it was a fun one because most of them were shit. And I've got the original Hellraiser. I put Hereditary on here.
Good.
Which we talked about. I put Hocus Pocus on here, which you love. House 1 or 2. Yeah, we did House 1 as a commentary on Mac and Zach, and you were watching it. You said you didn't like it that much. I think I might like House 2 more than the original. It's I don't know. It's hard to say, but part 2 was really fun, and it kind of it has the extra quality of kind of being like one to put on when you got kids. Like it's not too scary for kids, and it's kind of like a family kind of like whimsical type of story. It's fun. I'd say check it out. I put Idle Hands on here. Jacob's Ladder, which I really love. Jeepers Creepers, which I know Aaron's never seen, but I think it's a pretty good monster movie. And it kind of falls apart in the third act, but it's up until that point, I find it really good. I put Little Monsters on here, Howie Mandel classic. I put Lords of Salem because I know Aaron loves it, and to me, that's a perfect movie to watch around Halloween if you like it. I might watch that this fucking year, baby. My Bloody Valentine, I put that on there because I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to watch that. It probably doesn't deserve to be on there. It's more of a fucking Valentine's Day movie. Night of the Demons 1 and or 2, both great films. Pet Sematary 1 and or 2. The original Pumpkinhead, Psycho series, any of them. Return of the Living Dead 1 and 3. I've never been a big fan of the second one. I put The Sixth Sense on there, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and or 2. Oh, and there was like 3 more. Trick or Treat, either the 80s version or the newer one. Both work. And Troll 1 and 2, and The Wicker Man, baby. Original Wicker Man.
There you go. Yeah, so with me, I when I think of movies to watch around Halloween, I just don't think, like, I didn't put Hellraiser on there, even though it's one of my favorites. Like, it has to feel Halloween-y. I can watch Hellraiser anytime of the year, doesn't matter. So most of my list here is actually not even horror shit. It just has to have the vibe, but I have a few horror movies. So Nightmare Before Christmas, I fucking love it. It puts me in the fucking mood. It's super Halloween-y. It's over the top, and you can watch it, at Christmas time
around
too.
Christmas, yeah.
So nice, you can watch it twice. Beetlejuice is a classic.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very Halloween-y to me. I just love the aesthetic, and that one puts me in the mood. Also, Addams Family Values. And the original Addams Family movie and Addams Family Values. I just watched those. Those are very October.
Another Krumholtz fucking joint.
Yeah, and so that one, dude, it's super Halloween-y. I love it. We're getting the territory of haunted, like, spooky houses and shit, and fucking walking hands. It's like campy shit. Ernest Scared Stupid's on mine too. Another kind of campy Halloween movie. And then I like a lot of animated television specials. So I like Garfield's Halloween Adventure. Garfield had a lot of really good primetime holiday specials, with his Christmas special being my favorite, but the Halloween Adventure is really, really great. I watch all that shit every year.
Real quick, do you own a copy on Blu-ray of Ernest Scared Stupid?
Yeah, I do.
That's so fucking out of print. Like, I remember there was a time when you'd go to fucking Walmart and it would be just stacked with fucking $5 Blu-rays of that movie. I wish I would have grabbed it when I had the chance.
I got that in Goes to Jail on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, I got the jail one. Yeah.
Same thing with these animated do you remember Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? Classic. I like that shit.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
They're not airing it on on television this year, like on cable, like regular, like network TV. They always air those Charlie Brown specials, and they're not doing that. And this year, it makes me want to buy the Blu-ray set, because they released a Blu-ray set with just like you can buy them separately. They might even be on 4K separately, even, for some reason, these fucking old ass cartoons. Or you could buy like a box set. I kind of want to buy them because they make me feel good, man. It makes me feel like home. That's what Halloween and Christmas and all that shit means to me. It reminds me of like being home for the actual holiday, not necessarily being scared, but and that shit was just played every year. And then also, do you remember that animated special, The Halloween Tree?
Sounds familiar.
Google it on your phone. You've probably seen it, man. But they haven't played it in years. But they used to play like every Halloween when I was like in school and shit. About these kids looking for this Halloween tree, and they were like dressed up, and I don't know. It's just nostalgic. Now, as far as horror movies, yeah, Trick or Treat, the 80s, Ragman, 86. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot Halloween-y about it, even though it does go over Halloween. There's a Halloween dance or whatever, and the name's Trick or Treat. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's a heavy metal horror movie, but it's got just enough. You got that one scene where, that one dude's girlfriend, they got fucking slimed to death by that lizard fucking monster. He goes to his front porch, he's got the pumpkins, and then they like blaze fire. He's like, "You stay away from me, Bauer."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever.
You know what? A new one that I thought of was that movie about the Mayhem, the biopic about it.
That's a good one, yeah.
That'd be a good one to watch on Halloween.
Yeah, no, I agree. I put
what's it called? Lords of Chaos.
Lords of Chaos. I
put that on my list to buy for Blu-ray, and it's never gone down from like $30.
Yeah, it's too easy to put the original Halloween, so I avoided it. But I put Halloween 3 because I feel like that's very Halloween. I feel like Halloween 3 is even more Halloween than Halloween 1. Mm-hmm. So Halloween 3 is a good one, and Night of the Demons. I put that on there too. That's very much in the vibe for me. And
I put 1 or 2. 2 is great too.
Demon Knight is I know it's not Halloween, but it just everything Tales from the Crypt feels Halloween to me, just because it's the Crypt Keeper and he's telling you a ghost story. It just feels like it to me. So a Demon Knight's great.
Yeah, I've actually never seen Bordello Blood. I got that on cable. It played, so I recorded that to watch this year.
You've never seen that?
I don't think so.
It's fun. It's a different vibe. It's not Demon Knight is more of a spooky tale. Bordello Blood is what you'd expect a movie starring Dennis Miller.
I'm pretty sure I've started watching it and just never made it through it. I don't know why. Probably just had other things I had to do.
And it's got your midget boy in it. What was it? Fondacaro? Phil Fondacaro. Yeah, he's in it. It's got Chris Sarandon, who I really like a lot in everything he does. It's got Corey Feldman. Yeah, it's Donna D'Errico, if you remember her, of Baywatch days, a.k.a. Mrs. Nikki Sixx, I think, for a while. But anyway, let me see. Did I have anything else? I think, I think that's it. That's the thing that kind of comes easily to mind. But, I could almost say anything. I could go through like a list of movies and say, yeah, I'd watch that. I kind of feel like having a Freddy marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about.
I always try to put at least one from the classic franchise, like one Freddy movie, one Halloween movie, one Jason movie in there.
Yeah, well, and it's exciting for me too because like my lady, there's so many of these movies she's never seen. I tried asking her, I was like, hey, you watch Freddy? She's like, I don't like Freddy. I'm like, but have you ever seen it? And like I keep having to dig. Like, no, she's never actually seen him. She just doesn't like Freddy. It's scary or whatever. I'm like, oh, we're gonna watch one. So, because you've actually never seen a movie, you're just going off like clips and shit and whatever. And the character. What movie is the best one to introduce to somebody? You think? The first one, or should I go third one?
I don't know. Yeah,
maybe the first one. Maybe just like start easy with the first one.
I'd say if it's introduction, I'd go either 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Even though I know a lot of people don't like 2, but like it seems like it's gotten kind of a renaissance more recently.
They like it now, yeah. I don't know where they were at, when it came out, but all right. So I think that wraps that up. But some things we mentioned. But I didn't mention it, but I don't even think it's a very good movie. I think it's just kind of an okay movie. But I think Candyman's kind of Halloween-y for some reason because it's just like that old, it's like that. You're around Halloween night and you're hearing those old fucking wives' tales and those old urban legends. I guess it's kind of Halloween-y. But I don't think the movie's that great though. But it doesn't. It didn't stop me from owning it. I think it was like super. It was super cheap on like. I think it still is on Amazon right now. I think you can get that damn movie for like $8. Shout Factory. So, but anyway, all right. Are we good for this section?
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna get back into the meat of the topic. We're gonna talk Sixth Sense. All right.
You know the accident up there?
Yeah.
Someone got hurt.
They did?
A lady. She broke her neck.
Oh my God! But you can see her?
Yes.
Where is she?
Standing next to my window.
Baby, why are you shaking? Cole, what's wrong?
Did you ever talk to your mom about how things are?
I don't tell her things.
Why not?
Because she doesn't look at me like everybody else, and I don't want her to. I don't want her to know.
Know what?
I
sure they're there?
Sometimes you feel it inside, like you're falling down real fast. You ever feel the prickly things on the back of your neck?
Yes.
That's them. They get mad. It gets cold.
How often do you see them?
All the time. They're everywhere. They want me to do things for them.
I think that they know that you're one of these very rare people who can see them. So you need to help them.
What if they don't want to help?
I don't think that's the way it works.
How do you know for sure?
Is anyone there?
Look out! Please make them leave.
I'm working on it.
All right, welcome back to Zach's Hour, Zach's movie. And he had me watch a movie he's been talking about for the longest time, and it's a movie I've been trying to avoid for the longest time. Tell him what we're doing. Tell him what we're doing.
We did The Sixth Sense from 1999, baby. A simpler time. I was in fucking, pretty sure I was in 4th or 5th grade. Or maybe it was even, I might have been 3rd grade even. Yeah, fuck. But yeah, like everybody knows, you know, the fucking, see, that's the thing I wanted, because he's never seen it. He's always heard, like, you know, Shyamalan, he's like, oh, this fucking cancer. And it's like, oh, his original was really good, though. And he's like, I don't fucking know. I never watched it. And I was like, you know, I'm going to get you to watch it. That's one of the reasons I even started this podcast. We had the idea. And then, like, yeah, so basically I'm just going to go through the plot really quick. And, yeah, we won't really worry about the spoilers and stuff for this one because it's like everybody knows it. So
I knew him the year it came out because it was so big, you couldn't escape it. Everybody knew spoilers.
So we're going to get his thoughts from a person that knew the twist going in. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, so this one starts out, we meet Bruce Willis's character, and he's with his wife, and they're celebrating the fact that Bruce, his character's name is Malcolm, but I'll probably just call him Bruce because I always forget fucking character names. He got an award for psychology, and he's like a child psychologist, and they head up to their room to call it a night, and they realize that their bedroom window is broken. And now an old patient from Bruce's past has like snuck in, and he's basically he's going crazy and yelling at him about how he never helped him and shit like that. And then, long story short, he shoots Bruce Willis and then kills him. So did you recognize who that guy was, by the way?
That was a really skinny, malnourished Donnie Wahlberg.
Exactly. I'd never fucking. Apparently, he lost like 100 or something pounds for it or something. But yeah, like so then like we fast forward, and now basically Bruce Willis's character is he's trying to help out this little boy whose name is Cole, and it's
Haley Joel Osment.
I had a Mandela effect on this. I always thought his name was Haley Joel Osmond, but it's Osment. The T's probably silent. It might just be Osmond. But yeah, like this kid, his mom and dad recently got divorced, and his mom's played by Toni Collette, who
Hereditary.
Who is in Hereditary, and she's kind of a scream queen nowadays. She kind of became one with this movie. Like, so basically the movie, it's very slow burn, a ghost story. So yeah, it's very much like the classic setup of the ghost story. It's slow, and it's all about Bruce Willis's character trying to get this kid to trust him, because at first he doesn't want to tell him a secret. So like he's he's just trying to get them to break down these walls. And eventually he does come out with a secret, which we all know. He sees dead people. And then, through some random, long story short, basically, he doesn't believe him at first, but he ends up, believing him. And then he comes to think that, like, maybe they need help from you. So maybe if you just help them, they'll go away. And that's the plot of the movie. And of course, we know the spoiler alert is at the end. He fucking finds out that the whole time Bruce Willis was dead. And so what's funny too is I remember as a kid watching this because I was in fourth grade. You know how like plot points kind of go over your head when you're a kid?
Yeah.
Like you don't really pick them out and stuff. I remember thinking, like looking back on the movie, that they did it differently. And I think it kind of would have worked a little better. Like if at the beginning they were super vague about who that person was. Because he mentions in the movie that like the reason he wants to help Cole so much is that he reminds him of that kid that he failed. So I was thinking like they could have been really vague and like made it so that you think like, oh, the movie's just jumping back now. It's showing us like him, interacting with that kid. Mm. And then like at the end, like that could have thrown us off even more. Like, oh, the fucking, it's not jumping back. It's happening chronologically and he died at the beginning. Yeah. Like I was thinking like they should have just like, they like not even put like, oh, this, because it shows him, get shot. He lands on the bed and then it fades out and it says
next fall.
The next fall, yeah. If they were just completely vague about like not even put like a little thing at the bottom of the screen telling you. Yeah, just a thought. But yeah, so what'd you think of this movie, baby?
So, and I was having a hard time wrestling with the thought of, okay, trying to watch it with fresh eyes because, for example, that feeling when you watch a movie that has a twist you didn't see coming, or it makes sense when you watch it all unraveled, and then you go back and watch it again, then you kind of piece it together like, oh, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. So that felt like my first viewing because I knew all the twists. I knew the story. Yep. And so I don't know if I felt the twist was not that hard to get, or if it's just because I'm so used to I already know it. I've known it for 20 years. So I can't tell if I would have watched this in the late 90s, if I would have been just as duped. I can't tell. But then again, I would have been a kid. But I mean, watching it as someone that does know it, I was picking apart all the stuff and I'm like, man, how did people not realize that something's off about all these scenes? Very cold, the way everything's structured.
I always chalk it up as just like, that's how the ghost story, what's that called? The fucking, ambiance of those kind of movies kind of always is. Yeah.
Like, I mean, because to me, like I said, I don't know if it's not just because I knew the twist or whatever, but I feel like I would know this by a movie now in my 30s. Like if a movie tried to pull this, but like how, because I'm always picking apart this stuff. Like not once is anybody acknowledging Bruce Willis besides the kid. Now,
yeah, I remember this did start a trend, like for a while, like after this movie came out, like this was kind of the twist ending a lot of movies tried to do. Like it became like, oh, they're doing the fucking Sixth Sense ending. Like that became kind of cool. And I remember there was a movie with Dakota Fanning. I thought about it while you were talking about that movie earlier.
Hound Dog.
Like it was called like fucking Now You See Me or Hide and Seek or something.
Yeah, okay.
I saw that in the theater and it had fucking
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro in it, and I was like, this is a piece of shit. And like I remember the ending of it. I was like, they did the fucking Sixth Sense ending. I've only seen it that one time.
So and it's old news at this point, but I'd always read that he had ripped off the fucking why can't Tales from the
Are You Afraid of the Dark episode?
Are You Afraid of the Dark twist? Or there's that episode where there's the brother and sister. They work at a bowling alley, and the brother's talking about the dance that's coming up, and but he's having issues. His girlfriend's being cold, or she's not returning the calls, and the mother's being all distraught, and she's not being the same. And the twist is the same.
That's fucking genius. That like this movie was inspired by a great fucking television show.
But I'll say, and I always kind of slided it because of that, but that was in ignorance. I watched it today. I'm like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with what he did. I mean, he just took the twist. Everything else is different. Like he made his own story around it, but he took the twist. So I don't know. I guess it's fair play. And to be fair, he took a twist from a children's show at the time when that movie came out. The demo that was watching it were people that were not watching Are You Afraid of the Dark like 5 years earlier. Mm-hmm. Right. So I guess it was smart.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess some people were, but he did rip off the whole twist. The whole twist is the same.
Yeah, there is a fun fact that if you remember when he gives his "I see dead people" speech, it like right after he says that, it shows a shot of Bruce Willis, and I guess one of the producers thought that was going to give away the ending, but apparently nobody noticed it in any of the test screenings. Everybody was still shocked by the ending.
And that was the scene that I felt was like, man, this is super heavy-handed. Like, I see dead people when he's looking at them and he's talking about they don't know they're dead, and we're just like all eyes on Bruce Willis.
It never crossed my fucking mind.
And it just seems really heavy-handed. I'm like, man, this didn't come across. And I'll put it this way, which, by the way, it wasn't clear. Did Haley Joel Osment know he was dead the whole time or no? He had to have. He
might have. Yeah, it leaves us in the dark on that too.
But it had to have, because like we never see him knocking on the door coming in. You would think his mom would acknowledge the guy. No, I think he had to have known. He had to have. And I think when he said, I think when he was talking to him, like, you know, what comes to my mind is you're very nice. I don't think he said it verbatim, like you're nicer than the others, but he kind of had this language with him that was supposed to make us think like, oh, he likes him more than the other doctors he's maybe seen. But I think what he means is you're nicer than the rest of these spirits.
I don't even think I've ever picked up on that even, yeah.
I think that's the way but they keep it ambiguous enough to where they think maybe you're, but he has to. There's no way, because like he would be talking to his mom, hey, when's Dr. Malcolm coming over? You know what I mean? He had to have known he was dead. Yeah. And, but my question is, why would he not just tell him? And why would he be like, yeah, I can't tell you my secret?
That's the only thing, like maybe that's why maybe he didn't know then, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those movies that, like, if you think about it too much, it just kind of starts to unravel. It's just all about like the moment and being in it and all that.
Yeah, and I liked the little thing at the end when he realized he was dead, and you know he looked behind his back for the first time and he saw the exit wound.
Yeah,
because all those dead ghosts walking around, they still have their wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess he was wearing like a blazer the whole movie, a jacket, right? A tweed jacket. So we wouldn't have seen it.
He was wearing different variations of like the same costume he had on at the beginning when he dies. Yeah.
And I thought it would have been cool. So I guess that would have hit it anyway. But I thought it would have been cooler because when he revealed it, he was just wearing his shirt, right? No jacket. But I thought it would have been cooler if like he was wearing the shirt and just the whole movie as well. We just never see him from the back.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have also told me, well, fucking Haley Joel Osment knew the whole time. He's looking at him turn away and he sees this other ghost with a fucking bullet wound and blood coming out of it.
Yeah, there was a little hint, like at one point, like whenever. Well, I guess I wrote down some key scenes that I want to mention, like the step forward, step back scene. Like whenever he comes home and he sees the mom and you know they're sitting there, like yeah, that's the only scene that makes me think like, yeah, like there's no way he sat there, saw the mom sitting there, and she didn't acknowledge him. He didn't think that was weird. But then I'm thinking like, you know what? They could have like fixed that if they just shot like, another like alternate shot of him sitting there and she's not sitting there, and flash back to that whenever it mentions that like they only see what they want to see. So he was just sitting there and didn't notice she was.
They didn't do that flash?
I don't think they did. Did they?
Yeah, no, I don't think. Well, they kind of had that moment where they're doing flashes, you know, but I don't think they did show. I was waiting for it, but I don't think they did.
I think she was still sitting there in the flash. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The stuttering Stanley scene. Like, what'd you think of that scene?
Did that happen or did that not happen? That seemed like a fever dream.
Nope, that happened. Did that come off as cheesy to you these days?
It seemed weird. I don't know. It seemed like a PG-13 horror movie to me. I don't know.
That's the only part of the movie that kind of comes into like it's riding on that line of kind of like what M. Night Shyamalan became, like the meme kind of weirdness.
It's a little tonal. It's tonally different from the rest of the movie,
especially in that movie, The Visit. Like if you ever see that, but like yeah, like I remember. To me, it still works. It's just like it kind of rides a fine line between like could be unintentionally funny to some people. Yeah,
it's a little totally different from the rest of the movie. That's why it felt like, did it really happen? Because it seemed a little out of place. And it's also like this kid, this teacher, there was no repercussions of him like slamming on a desk and calling this kid a little freak. I mean, it just seemed kind of weird. And it's because the next time we see him, it's like it never happened. He's like talking about, oh yeah, like, you know, in this school, like people were hanged, and he's like,
yeah, and that scene, like it happens because like the teacher's like, oh, you know what they used to do in this school before? And he raises his hand and he's like, oh, they used to hang people here. And he's like, no. It was like, it was like a courthouse. And then like,
yeah, you're right. I was referring to when he was talking about the burn down and he was talking to the burn victim, like when getting ready for the play.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I thought, and there's also like a little bit of foreshadowing too, when he's trying to like tell him the bedtime story. And he's like, and he wasn't very good at it. He's like, you've never told a bedtime story before. He's like, there needs twists. Twists,
What'd you think of their like interact? Like, were you like on board? Like, were you fucking like? Did you laugh at any of the the scene where he's like the magic trick? He's like, now it's in my vest pocket.
I thought it was dumb. I'm like, what? Me as a viewer, I was waiting for the punchline. Like, what's going on here? Like, there was no. I get it. The joke was stupid. Never left his hand. But like, what's the punchline? And at least they made it to where the kids said it was stupid too. I'm like, all right. It seemed a little pointless to me.
I always laugh at it. I always laugh how he's talking down to the kid like he's that fucking dumb. He's like,
now it's in the breast pocket, but that's not the end of the magic. Like just the way he delivers the lines is fucking hilarious to me.
I don't get the point of the scene. The point of the scene might be somewhere when he's at. Maybe it's like the next scene when he's showing it to the other kid at the party, and it's like maybe it means he's resonating with him. A little bit. Maybe that was the first scene where he was supposed to be not pushing away from him. I don't fucking know. I'd have to watch it again.
He's just trying to break down the wall that the kid's putting up between him, and because he's not talking to him, and he's like, he's just trying to get him to laugh or something. But go
ahead.
I put the basically they ripped a scene off from Poltergeist, and that's a memorable scene where the mom's like, he's got something on his tie, so she takes it to the back to get a new one. And when she comes back in, like all the cabinets and shit are opened up in the same shot.
Yeah.
They do that in Poltergeist, and they did it here. Like they also do that scene where the mom is looking at the pictures of him, and like she notices like
the shine in the pictures or like the lighting. Yeah.
So like in all these pictures of him, it's got like basically that was a big thing at the end. It's like, oh yeah, you get a ghost on camera. It's like this
orb or light.
So that was there, and then like the scene where the psychologist is talking to him about like, oh, free associated writing. You ever do that? And then she finds like those weird writings in his room. Where it's like he's just writing a bunch of shit. Like I noticed
I'll kill
like
you.
I noticed like on all those scenes like. The all of a sudden the camera was like handheld, and it made it like feel like different, like something weird was gonna happen. They also put like anytime the color red is on screen. Did you notice that at all?
No, tell me.
Like the red doorknob, the red balloon. Like it was basically signifying that like something odd is coming.
By the way, can I jump to this real quick? When he found out he was dead, and we were like, he was having all those little flashbacks. The whole movie, he can't open up that red handle door. So was that supposed to be it? When he looked down and there's like a shelf in front of it now, and that's why he couldn't open it. Yeah. So I don't understand that though. Like, why didn't he see that damn shelf before?
They only see what they want to see.
So so basically, after he died, she put a shelf over it. But what's the importance of that door? What's in that room?
It's probably like, some room that she just...
Maybe is it the room he died in? Did she not want to sleep in that room anymore?
Maybe it was his old office or something, because now he's in the basement. Maybe something like that.
That's a good point.
So yeah, like they play it off like, oh, now they're just kind of in a loveless marriage and they're not talking to each other. But then, of course, you find out at the end that it's like, oh, he's dead. And she's just like grieving and all that stuff. But like, I also wrote down, let me see here.
Well, I'll say too really quick. There's a scene where that birthday party or whatever it is.
That's what I'm at. Yeah,
I found it really weird that those kids locked him in that room, and then even when his mom was coming up to get him, they were just standing there like just not saying anything while he screamed bloody murder. Like nobody was saying
little
anything.
Fucking shits. Yeah.
Why were they just watching? And they, but usually when a kid's gotten in trouble, you're gonna do that and you're gonna run away. Like they just stood there while the mom is going up there trying to get him out and stuff like that. They're just like, yeah, we did this. Like, okay.
Balls of fucking steel on these little bricks.
And it comes full circle with the Are You Afraid of the Dark, because that little kid who plays the kid that's all cocky because he was in like a fucking commercial.
Mm-hmm.
That kid was in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark. He was in that episode, I can't remember what it's called, where there's that little clown doll they buy from an antique shop.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he's like the little piece of shit kid. And then there's the older brother who's got like blonde hair, and he's just like the little troublemaker. And they put their money together to buy the mom a birthday present. But the kid when he's like trying to like, he buys that fucking stupid clown, but the kid stole the money that we were supposed to buy the mom a birthday gift, and he goes to the store next door and buys a Sega Genesis game. And it's funny because the Sega Genesis game is Zeebo's Funhouse, and it's they made a custom Sega Genesis case, but it's got like a Zeebo's Funhouse on it, like a game. It's pretty cool, and I always wanted to play like Zeebo's Funhouse. That's the kid.
Yeah. So he was also in the Barney movie. Great little actor.
The Barney movie. There was
a Barney live action fucking
straight to video.
I think it was theatrical actually.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
like during that birthday party scene, the balloon that like goes up the fucking stairwell. It's a red balloon. Yeah, so
Pennywise show up.
Yeah, did you that scene where he's like, you know, looking at the crawl space with the lock on it before they come and shove him in it? Like there's a voice coming from it, and it says something like, Come here, or I'll break this down and grab you. What did you think of that?
I thought it was a really weird, empty, cheesy threat.
That was a very cheesy line, and I noticed that watching that. It was kind of cheesy, but as a kid, that was fucking terrifying, because like that's what you know that fucking monster that lives on your bed is thinking. Like whenever you're fucking waiting, it's waiting for you to come step down, baby.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, like I got the let me see. I noticed that while watching it, I'm like, I think dead people may be like some kind of metaphor for like you know, going through life on autopilot and not stopping to like, you know, enjoy your family. Because like, yeah, that,
people won't give up the ghosts, and they're like clinging on to shit.
Yeah, like what if that's kind of because like we always think of like you know, people talk about how, you know, they have a job where they got to drive, you know, an hour to work, and then after like 2 years they stop even like noticing the drive because it's just like autopilot. And like people talk about like, you know, the last time I felt alive was like this, and it's always like when something bad happens, because it's the things that kind of break you out of that routine, and it's kind of like tragic in a way that like the things we start remembering are like the times that we had like even harder shit happening in life. Yeah, I was thinking like maybe dead people is like you know, kind of that metaphor, and like, yeah, they only see what they want to see, and like, you know, like you don't stop to smell the roses, you don't you know, spend time with your family and stuff like that till it's fucking too late and shit like that. I noticed that while watching it this time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember the first girl he helped, the Misha Barton, she went on to star in the OC, that Fox show. She was that little girl that was throwing up. So, and, you know, the ghost wanted to reveal that, hey, the mom kept me sick. It was like the act, right? I guess she had one of those moms that wanted to keep her sick for some reason. I don't know how that, well, in the act, though, it was like all manipulation and brain. Like, oh, you're sick. But she was actually giving her like fucking Ipecac or something. I don't know what she was giving her in her fucking food or soup. And I don't know how she died, though. Like, did she actually kill her, or was she...
I think it's implying that she was like one of those moms that like likes the attention
for the attention. Yeah, like the act, that the condition. Yeah,
she must have just like accidentally gave her too much, and she ended up dying. Yeah, I'll get to that. Like, basically, we get that with the classic "I see dead people" scene, and like after that, that's about maybe halfway into the movie. And I don't know if you noticed, but the movie just it kind of hits a tonal shift after that scene. Because after that, it's very
much... You start seeing the ghosts and shit.
Yeah, it's very much like a classic kind of ghost story rather than kind of a make you think kind of thriller, like what's going on here.
Yeah, well, he didn't just tell Bruce Willis his secret. He told the audience his secret now. Now we're all in on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, like, what'd you think of that scene? The first scene we see is whenever, like, he has to pee in the middle of the night. He runs into the bathroom, and then like fucking.
There's that crazy woman who slit her wrist.
Yeah, did that come off as cheesy to you, or seeing that as an adult?
All of it kind of did. It all kind of gave me like a Peter Jackson Frighteners kind of vibe with the ghosts.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that watching it this time, because like as a kid, like that shit was terrifying. I remember I saw that with my mom, and I'm pretty sure Mac. We saw that. And like, yeah, I was fucking terrified of the movie. And like, I told my friend Derek about it. We went and watched it like together in the theater. And I actually lied and pretended I had to go take a piss so that I didn't have to see that scene again.
Yeah, I like I said, it reminded me of Peter Jackson, The Frighteners, and the ghosts in that. Like, it's not scary, it's not R-rated. I mean, I thought the effect on the kid that got shotgun in his head in the back was kind of a cool effect.
Yeah, that's a difference. Yeah,
I know that was cool.
Oh, come here! I'll show you. I'll show you where my dad keeps his gun, and he turns around.
How did he accidentally shoot himself in the back of the head? Is that how he died?
I think it's just implying that he accidentally shot himself, and maybe that's the exit wound on the back. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, because Bruce Willis didn't have like a bullet hole in his front. Maybe I don't. Yeah, none of it came off scary to me. The movie came off more of a drama than anything.
Yeah, apparently Toni Collette, she said she didn't realize it was supposed to be a horror movie at all until she saw it finished. Because from the script, it was more of a drama. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
and I think that was a little bit more displayed. It was more heavier on that because the horror. I mean, come on, if you're gonna be a horror movie, man, it didn't really feel like a horror movie. Yeah, it felt like kind of a ghost story, but not really because none of these spirits were malicious. I know he kept having claws and bruises on his body, but were these ghosts supposed to be fucking? I thought they just wanted help. I'm confused. If that was the answer, it's like they want help, then why were they fucking him up? And none of the ghosts that we saw were dangerous.
It kind of didn't have a payoff for the scars on his other. Basically, yeah, because there's that scene where she takes him to the doctor, and the doctor played by M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah. He tells her oh yeah, we found some scars on his and basically Bruce Willis's character's oh no, because he realizes they think that the mom's fucking with him, and that's a really good scene too. She really is a good actor. I always thought.
Yeah, she's awesome in Hereditary. I mean, she's really good.
I wrote. Let me see here. That scene after the school play where they're walking down the hall and he looks over and we actually see the people hanging. That payoff for that setup.
Yeah, no, I thought that was put together well. The payoff there and coming back around. Yeah, some of that stuff was cool. I just didn't think it was overtly scary. There was nothing about the movie this is why it felt more like a drama than a horror movie to me, because there was no malicious force. There was no threat in this movie. What was the threat?
Well, as a kid, I thought they were all threatening. I was yeah. As an adult, you were you're basically
just seeing stuff. None of them seem to mean any harm. The enemy that's being battled in this movie is just this kid not understanding the gift he has. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really it. I mean, he eventually grows up to become Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist, and his job is to help people cross over.
See, I was thinking they could easily, M. Night Shyamalan could make a fucking loose sequel where it's basically like a Dr. Sleep type of sequel, and he's just kind of going around helping people solve.
You can have fat Haley Joel Osment reprising the role.
Fucking fat Haley Joe is the best Haley Joe.
So another thing too, I'll point out too, and it very well could just be that the city of Philadelphia just looks like this downtown, and this is the way they all look, or it also could be legit. And when they go to these cities, they just film in the same locations as a lot of movies. But there's that scene when Bruce Willis is walking down a sidewalk, and I guess he's approaching Haley Joel's house. It straight up looks like the scene out of Rocky, right? Where Rocky's walking down and he's going to Adrian's house and dropping her off. It looks like the same buildings, the same street.
Dog, it might have been.
Yeah, it's Philadelphia. So it was clearly filmed in Philadelphia. See, I don't know if it's just because the aesthetic of Philadelphia and a lot of the houses look like that in downtown Philadelphia, or if it was legit the same street. But it totally gave me those vibes. It was even the same angle and everything. It was just daytime instead of night. But yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's that kind of whenever there's always this kind of go-to thing in movies where when you're transitioning from the second act to the third act, in romantic comedies, it's always that the girl finds out that the guy originally started dating her because he made a bet, and then she gets mad and they break up for a little bit, but then they're back together.
I learned to love you though.
Yeah, so in this movie, he kind of he decides I need to spend more time with my family, because throughout the movie we're seeing shots of his wife kind of getting friendly with this other guy. And it's oh no, she
looked way younger than Bruce Willis. Looked like a kid to me. Yeah.
So he sees it happen, and he's I've been spending too much time focused on work. I can't help you now. So there's a little point where they split up, and there's a scene where Bruce Willis is going back through listening to a tape of the kid from the beginning of the movie.
And he realizes Donnie Wahlberg had the same gift.
Yeah, so basically he thought Donnie Wahlberg was schizophrenic or something. So he's listening and he starts hearing voices when he turns the tape up. What'd you think of that scene? Because I remember that scaring the shit out of me as a kid.
It didn't scare me.
I remember as a kid, like I was really big and like basically I was podcasting before podcasting exists. I used to like record tapes with friends where we were talking to each other. And I remember like that scene made me think that like next time I listen to it, I'm going to hear like voices on the silent parts. And that made me scared to fucking listen to tapes.
Total side note. When I was a kid and I had the Talkboy, I used to make little radio programs. You know, and it would be like there were skits, like we do like fake commercials, and we have little skits, and there would be like an old school like radio, like radio story, like the old serials, like George Orwell and all that shit. I would do those, and I wish I still had those tapes, man. I had them for the longest time, but anyway, yeah, I used to do that shit too.
Yeah, so that whole scene basically is what, lets Bruce Willis, makes him think that, like, maybe they just want your help. Maybe they're coming to you because they got some unfinished business and stuff. So then we get that, the puking girl scene. And, like, did that creep you out at all whenever she's revealed?
No.
See, all this stuff isn't hitting you at all.
Because you're looking at it from like a kid's eyes, because you watched it first when you were a kid. And like I said, it was totally a drama to me. It was with mild like ghost story vibes, but like I said, there was no malicious force. Even before they revealed these ghosts just want to be helped, none of them felt threatening. They were just an understanding somewhere, a misunderstanding. And like I said, the only enemy in this movie was just his misunderstanding of what his gift was. There was no force. There was nothing to conquer. It was just solving this riddle. That was it. And ultimately getting us to like the whole Bruce Willis thing. But
the puking girl, and then that takes on a little part, like a subplot where he's trying to help her. And there's that scene where she basically lets him know that she has a tape, because he goes to like the family. She must have just recently died, because he goes.
Yeah, because they had the wake service, and
he asked her like, "Oh, is there something I can help you with?" And it cuts away, and then it shows them going to like visit her like wake at the family house, and basically he goes into a room. And there's actually a little Easter egg that scene where he tells Bruce Willis to stand outside the door. And like it shows it shows like from the inside of the room looking through the bottom of the door, and you only see one shadow. It's fucking Haley Joel Osment's shadow. Why doesn't fucking Bruce Willis have a shadow? Yeah, that was a little hidden thing. And then there's that scene where she gives him the tape because like she was recording like a little puppet show. And he takes it down to the dad, and they watch it, and that's when the dad finds out that like the mom was like putting Lysol or something in her phone. Aren't they lucky that she waited till she got into the room right in front of the girl to put the Lysol in the drink, in the soup or whatever it was? That was a lucky accident. Yeah, but after that, basically overall, I think the message of the movie is just like learning to conquer your fears, and sometimes like the things we're scared of are just as afraid of us as we are of them, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But then then we got the car accident scene, which I guess was the scene that Toni Collette, like whenever they were auditioning for the movie, that was the scene she did it with, and this is the scene that convinced her she wanted to do the movie. And I think this is a really good scene where he comes clean to the mom. And there's that part where he mentions that, like, oh yeah, Grandma took the butterfly pendant.
Which, by the way, why didn't he bring that up from day? I mean, like, because everything's all bad. Well, listen. I know not to her, but when he's talking about the stuff with Bruce Willis and stuff, everything's terrible and bad. You'd think he'd be like, well, I get to talk to Grandma sometimes. Why? Yeah. Does he not talk to other nice spirits?
It must have just been like, just make us think, I don't know. He didn't.
What if you were like, you got to talk to your dad too? I'm like, that's not that bad. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, his dad, I think his dad just left them.
Well, I was talking about like your dad or my dad, like family. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's not all bad. But once he learned what the mission was, I mean, I guess he conquered it, whatever.
Yeah, I thought there was like some pretty good little, like sad little story elements that were laid in, like that scene where, like, when he first meets Haley Joel, he says like, oh, why are you wearing those glasses? They don't got any lenses in them. He's like, oh no, they were my dad's. I can't see through them. And so like later on, whenever they're doing the step forward, step back scene, like, oh, if I get something right, step forward. And he assumes because he sees his watch and he goes, oh, your dad gave you that. And then he starts stepping back. And it's like, oh no, he left it there. It was broke. And I just wear it now. And it's like, that's kind of sad because it's like his dad didn't even give it to him. It's just like, oh, I have no use for this anymore. But to him, that's the only thing he's got to remember his dad by. It's like, that's pretty sad, baby.
Yeah. I mean, is this a good point to kind of transition into like the thoughts on the movie overall?
And then I just put the big twist ending. So yeah, we can go ahead and.
So now I don't fault him at all for, taking the fucking twist of something. He admitted to it.
Mm-hmm.
He admitted, like, I watched this episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and but I do think it's kind of interesting that, I mean, he made his own story around it, so it's fine, but he became famous for the twist.
It is kind of a fucking genius twist. Like,
if done right.
It'd never been done right before. I think, do you think he didn't do it right? He didn't accomplish it?
I mean, I think he did it the best he could. I mean, part of me says like part of me will say that I think they did a better job concealing it in Are You Afraid of the Dark, but that's a 22-minute TV show. They had a lot more to dance around, a lot less.
There was actually a big, they kind of fucking freaked out because they put out the original score on soundtrack and the track listing gave away the ending because the last...
Malcolm's revealed that he's dead, track 13.
It's called Malcolm's Dead. And luckily, though, because the movie was such a sleeper hit and nobody really saw it coming... Nobody really went out and bought the soundtrack, so no one knew.
Yeah.
But like once it was like word of mouth got around, people like, I'm sure there were some people that were like
it's like I said, it's fair game that he took the twist. There's no one's he came up with his own original story around it, but I just think it's funny that that's the big takeaway from everybody. Everybody was talking about that twist. It became like a pop culture thing. That twist, and it's just funny though. The most famous part about the movie was the thing he jacked, which is funny.
Yeah. I mean, everything is kind of stolen in a way. Not completely. But.
I know, but everybody was acting like, it was so revolutionary. Like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But maybe there's more credit. Maybe it's not just the twist. It's how he set it up and how he had a movie that was an hour and 45 minutes actually dupe that many people and the way he put it together. So I'm not really sliding him. To be fair though, like I said, I couldn't perceive it myself because I've known the twist for 20 years. I couldn't tell if it was easy to get or if it was just, but I will say this, I watched it with my lady and she's very much a casual movie person. Mm-hmm. She doesn't fucking know shit. She's never seen Sixth Sense and she didn't know the fucking twist. She didn't even know the movie I was talking about when I was like, hey, I was watching the movie, and she did see it.
She did. Okay. Yeah.
Not from the very beginning. Like me, I knew it. I'm like, man, I'm picking apart every scene. I
think because this movie exists, it kind of shaped the way movies ever since were done. So I think as long as you watch movies now and going back, because I think they kind of like, it kind of became a template. Like if you're going to have a twist ending, you got to do it like the Sixth Sense did it. So I think like nowadays you probably could see it coming.
Yeah, possibly. Well, so she saw it. She was duped a little bit. Like, when she was seeing him meet his wife at the anniversary dinner, she didn't say anything. She's like, oh man, she's pissed type of thing. Like she's just not talking to him. To me, it looked obvious, but like I said, I stand in a weird place with it. And, but I would say somewhere deeper in the second act, she's like, wait, is he dead? She did that to me.
What did you do the?
I said,
I don't know.
I said, I don't know, baby. I never seen the movie. I told you I never seen it. I played dumb. But I wasn't lying. I never seen the movie.
Did she like the movie or think it was?
When the movie, she did. When the movie ended, she's like, I fucking knew it. It's like, I knew that. But she said, but I said, we always rate it together. I said, what do you give that movie? And we do the 10 scale too. And it blew me away because she's like 10 out of 10. Like, what? Like, you want to think about that? Like, she gave it to me a little fast. And she cries at movies. She thought it was a little emotional. Like at the end, she was crying.
I thought the ending was, yeah.
But she cries to a lot of movies, though. But anyway, but then afterwards she corrected herself like 30 seconds after we were talking about it. She's like, oh, okay, maybe that's a little rash, but it was an 8 out of 10, she said. Mm-hmm. But she liked it. She first gave it a 10 out of 10, then she backed up. But it's funny because we watched The Departed and she'd never seen it last night. and I love The Departed. And it's obvious she was very much into the movie because it's a movie that keeps you engaged, right? Like always like twists and turns and stuff like that. And then, but when I asked her what she thought of it at the end, she's like 4 out of 10, like because it didn't land the ending for her. She doesn't like a unhappy ending.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like if the movie would have ended with Leo actually arresting Matt Damon, like right before the twist when he gets killed at the end, you seen that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. If it actually would have ended like that, which would have been a little more predictable, she said it would have been like a 9 out of 10. I'm like, but you dropped it 5 whole fucking points because he got. I'm like, that's what I love, man. Because you got 2 extra twists. You got the Leo dying, and then you got him getting killed by another informant from Jack Nicholson that was in The Force 2, and you didn't know it. And then you get turned around, and Mark Wahlberg comes back and kills Matt. It's like you get 3 wham bam twists. Like what the fuck? So I loved it. That makes a movie better than me. But she would rather have the. A little bit more predictable thing, I guess. I don't know.
Walk away feeling good, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I told her, I was like, well, it kind of. I mean, at least Matt Damon got his just desserts.
You know
least.
What? But somebody mentioned recently, and I never thought about it because people were talking about like, you know what, in the Uncut Gems, that's kind of the happiest ending that character could have got. Because if you think about it, if he would have lived. He would have just been like, he would have went right back to doing it. Like,
and he would have made everybody else around him miserable too.
Yeah, he ended at the peak of like his story arc. Like that was the happiest he'll ever be.
Yeah,
and then that was his last moments.
And The Departed actually isn't a happy ending, even though Matt Damon gets his. He still died a hero because Mark Wahlberg just killed him and probably walked away in the sunset because he quit his job.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously didn't say, "Hey, I killed this fucker," but. They probably just found him dead. I'm sure they found no contraband. We just assume he probably died fucking a hero, just like he was left a hero. And then, Leonardo DiCaprio, he died a hero too because it was revealed who he was, and they had the like honorable funeral for him. So he kind of gets his identity back. That's all he wanted, but he doesn't get to live. So it's kind of like somber a little bit. It's like whatever. And then Matt Damon. He dies, which is good, but he still dies a hero, which was a phony. So everybody's sort of getting a half justice or a half, half whatever. But I think that movie's great. But yeah, anyway, so she really liked it. To me, my opinion, I give it a 6.
Really? Okay.
The first act, I was ready to give it a 5. I'm like, this isn't really doing it for me. But as, like you said, there's the tonal shift, like when the I See Dead People. Then it started, the drama was there, and I started liking it a little bit more. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a 6, which officially puts it into I liked it territory. But yeah, I know I liked it. I mean,
hell yeah,
it's fine.
Well, I give it a 9 out of 10. And when I watched it this time, and like I said, I noticed like, oh yeah, some of these are kind of coming off more cheesy to me than they do. But for some reason, I'm still shaped by like that when I saw it as a kid. So at the end of it, I was like, you know what? If I saw this for the first time, I might give it like an 8. But yeah, like I love this movie. It's like a 9 for me. I think it's I'm not a huge fan of ghost stories, but I think this one it does it right for me.
Yeah. No, I'm glad. This is the only way I would have watched it. So I'm glad you made me do it because I never would have watched it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and like I said, it's not a movie that I hated. I mean, it's the same reason why I said I've never watched Don't Look Now, because I know the twists. And it keeps me from like going out of my way to watch it.
That's one of those movies, though. The twist isn't really like the reason the movie exists.
But it makes me want to watch it. Like, there's stuff to be offered still. I'm glad I watched this.
That's very much like a type of like it feels a lot like an Amityville horror and like movies like that. Like I think you'd like it.
Changeling and shit like that.
I might make that a movie to do for one of these sometime. I think it's on my list.
You should, because I really want to watch it. Yeah, push me. You should do it so I can watch it. And speaking of those movies, like I love I know you don't like The Changeling very much. I don't know why I didn't do The Changeling for Cinema Anima, because you watched it after I told you to. But I love The Changeling, and I was watching a live stream by Joe Bob Briggs, and people were just asking him questions on the live stream with him and Darcy, and somebody asked him his favorite ghost story, and he says, "Oh man," he's like, "Well, no," he said, "Ghost stories are probably his favorite genre," because somebody asked him his subgenre, and he says, "I'm going to say the ghost story because he said I think it's the hardest to nail."
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody fucking does it really good, it's amazing. And I think he's right though. You take the ghost story genre and you can really omit drama from it. You could The Exorcist tells you, and you can have Oscar movies contender. You can have movies that get a lot of respect and then be sort of ghost stories. I just think they're, they have to draw on suspense. They don't draw off gore and effects and shit. It's all suspense. It's all character driven. So I think he's right there. And somebody asked him his favorites. He's like, man, that's tough. He said it might be The Changeling. So I felt vindicated. I'm like, good. I think The Changeling's awesome. It admittedly is a cash grab. Like, it's a movie that was trying to capitalize on the success of The Exorcist being so mainstream.
I didn't hate it. It was just like nothing really connected for me.
It's a really slow burn. It's really slow. But it's funny though, George C. Scott ended up doing Exorcist 3, so it's like he went kind of full circle with that. But I think it's a really good movie. And you know what? I don't know why I didn't say it. I think The Changeling's a perfect Halloween movie. Ghost stories work for Halloween. And I might actually watch that with the lady to see if she likes it. Like I said, I can never tell what she's gonna like or not like. I can never tell because it's like, oh god, you're gonna hate fucking Brain Damage. She liked it, but she hates, like, hey, Pet Sematary 2 is a lot of fun. She hates it. Like I throw my hands up sometimes.
I was surprised you didn't say that for a Halloween movie, unless you did.
Yeah, no, that's one too. I didn't play. You just dropped it on me not that long ago. No, Pet Sematary 2, 100% is a Halloween movie because it goes over the holiday. That helps too. And there's something about that town in Maine that just seems like the classic Halloween-y type of fall, autumn town. It usually it's a certain city. It's a aesthetic. It's stuff like that. And when you think Halloween time, I think the Midwest, or I know Maine's not in Midwest, but you think of Everytown, USA, and that's in Everytown, USA. I can't think of any. How many Halloween-y movies take place in an urban city?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
they don't really. But anyway, I think that kind of wraps up the movie. It was a success. Like I said, I didn't hate it. It's the best M. Night Shyamalan ding dong movie I've seen. I've seen Signs. I saw The Happening. Very fucking shitty movie.
That's on. That's streaming. I was thinking about watching that again. I think that'd be a fun one to do a commentary for.
It's in the threes. Dude, Donnie Wahlberg was a better actor than his brother in this, because like his little monologue he had was actually really good.
Oh, I got some cool trivia I can read if there's a couple. Yeah. This was the first of 2 movies that Bruce Willis owed Disney after he caused another production, The Broadway Brawler, to be shut down due to him firing the director. He also was paid $10 million, half of his usual salary at the time. That's funny. Like, once you're like that big of a star, you can just fire the fucking director.
That's really funny. The other movie must have been The Kid.
Yeah, maybe.
That was the only other Disney movie he did.
I actually kind of have a fondness for that movie, even though I remember when I watched it the first time, I was like, meh. But like, for some reason, it's kind of like a nostalgic movie.
I watched it once. I watched it freshman year of high school because my Spanish teacher, she was kind of a young Spanish. She was like 24. So I don't know if her heart was really that much in it. And she would just like, a lot of the classes were just us watching a movie that were not anything to do with like Latin America. And she would just put the Spanish subtitles on.
Donk.
So that way if somebody, and I think by her own admission, that way if somebody walks in, they can see their Spanish subtitles, and that's the justification.
That's my kind of fucking teacher.
Yeah, like literally, we watched The Kid, like it was Spanish subtitle. Like, okay, we watched Mission Impossible with Spanish subtitles on. Like, okay, like this, it was like the most ridiculous thing.
This one, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
This one kind of goes into what I was saying, like maybe the metaphor of the movie is. It says at the beginning of the movie, Anne tells Malcolm that he sounds like Dr. Seuss. Like Malcolm, Dr. Seuss dedicated his life to children while he never having any time of his own. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. It was good. I enjoyed it.
You know who they actually asked Marissa Tomei to play the wife of
Oh man, big mistake there. They should have did it, man. She's hot.
Oh yeah.
She's still hot.
Bub.
She's still hot.
And the scene when Cole says the famous line, I already mentioned this one. We already mentioned the fucking Are You Afraid of Dark episode. Throughout the film, Malcolm's already mentioned that one. James Newton Howard's score occasionally sounds like snippets from the Requiem Mass by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which was an orchestral and choir piece written for a funeral mass, quite appropriate since the movie is about death. That's the last I got, baby.
Speaking of that, isn't it funny? I know this is like an Eddie Van Halen thing. Isn't it funny how Eddie Van Halen's middle name, they named him Ludwig, and he grew up to be this musical prodigy, and then his son was Wolfgang, who's also like a musical prodigy.
That's all you got to do.
But I know it's like the whole Jerry Seinfeld bit. Like, don't name your kid Jeeves because you're just damning him to be a butler.
I think if you, as long as you have a kid and you raise them around the idea of like music, like the love of music, and like give them access to any kind of instrument, I think pretty much anybody can be at least moderately
competent.
Good.
Everybody has like a threshold, there some kind of ceiling they can get to. You can at least play you can play power chords. Everybody can at least play in some kind of punk band.
Yep.
If you really wanted to.
That's why they made the song so simple, because you needed to be able to play them while you're drunk.
There you go. And actually, there probably is more of an answer to that with Eddie Van Halen, because his dad was a classical pianist. His dad was a musician. So clearly there was it was in the genes, and his dad made him and his brother they were playing instruments from a young age. Like, he pushed it on them, and, probably named him Ludwig because of fucking the music connection. But anyway, it's still kind of funny though. So you should name your kid Jeeves and just see what happens.
Oh yeah. Right.
Or I don't know. What's another name that could damn somebody to, I don't know. If you name your kid Roscoe, you ever seen like a successful Roscoe? Seems like he'd drive a garbage truck.
You could name your kid Jeeves, and he just gets he's just the guy everybody goes to with their problems and asks him shit.
Yeah, he goes on to invent the Ask Jeeves Google search engine.
Yeah.
And spits in your face. Anyway, we're not going to keep this going on too long. We pretty much finished up. But yeah, the movie was good. I'm glad I got to watch it. It wasn't a waste of time. And I guess to sign off here, this is Halloween week. Make sure you guys are tuning in Saturday for our live stream. I'm going to dress up. I don't know if Zach is. Riverman's going to dress up. We're going to have fun. We haven't, as of the recording anyway, we haven't decided what movie we're going to do, because I think we're going to do like some kind of like watch party. We'll figure something out, but stay tuned for that. And watch all the other shit. We did body horror on BTM all month. That was our whole thing. We got Videodrome. We got From Beyond. The Dentist.
Brian Damage.
Brain Damage. And Riverman was on almost all of them. Which is really cool. And so another thing too, if you guys want to support us more, we do have a Patreon. And if you guys are listening to this, you could have been listening to it earlier, because all our stuff goes up earlier on the Patreon, 3 days early. And we got some other content up there as well. We're starting to post regular vlog videos that are exclusives. I know there's a behind the scenes Mac and Zach thing on there that's really funny, with Zach fucking toe up from the flow up. And there's a mini documentary of me and my colonoscopy, which is kind of humiliating. And then I know Riverman, I was talking with him. I don't know if there's anything up as of this recording or as of you're listening to this, but he's going to start putting up some reviews and Blu-ray reviews and some videos himself. And he's going to start by putting them up on Patreon as well. So, and he had a great idea that we want to explore. And I keep trying to talk to Zach about it, but I like he's obsessed with having legit watch parties. And he was experimenting with these different websites that allow you to do it. But I'm like, this is basically what people do with the private Discords. So we want to figure out and get a private Discord going and let that be a part of the Patreon as well. That way we can schedule live hangouts with just you guys where we all watch movies together. Not just like a live stream where we're bullshitting and answering questions, but a private Discord where we can all watch the same movie together, and we can actually talk. You guys can fucking have your mics on. You can just type if you want, but we can just it can be more intimate and just hang out like friends. I think that's the way to go. And I also think it would be a cool idea, once we get a private Discord to go, for anybody that's on Patreon, to be able to always have that Discord going, even when we're recording our podcast, our normal shows. And then you guys can actually listen to us while we're recording it. And then I think at the end of the show, we can open up the floor, just like we answer questions on YouTube and shit like that. We can do that, but we can also be like, hey, the people that are listening, do you guys want to either type something out, or do you guys want to like unmute your mic? You can ask. I think that's a way to kind of keep it the same, but kind of give it that cool live feel at the same time. Those are cool ideas to me. And also, I'll pitch this. Riverman also, he loves Facebook groups. He likes groups, and we started one a long time ago, but it kind of went dormant just because we had the main page. But he is right. There's more activity on those groups. The groups are more popular, and he likes the idea of really building a community of that stuff and trading and, trading Blu-rays and shit like that and VHS and selling or, whatever, like a lot of those groups, and just talking about shit. So he revamped the Revival House. It's called the Revival House Film Group for now. So if you guys want to actually talk with us, we'll be more active on there. I mean, Zach's an admin, Todd's an admin, I'm an admin. We can make Mac an admin. But yeah, he really wants to baby that. So add that. We need to put a link in the description of that, maybe even too.
Oh, yeah.
But the Revival House Film Group, let's see that grow and talk movies, man. If you guys are looking for certain films, put it out there. We'll, trade. Like, let's fucking... let's have a community there. And like I said, if you guys are going to comment, and I'm more than apt to respond to shit over there, like as opposed to sending DMs on Instagram and shit like that, which we get sometimes, man, that the group's going to be great for that. We'll just kind of just chat that way. Other than that, Teespring, if you guys want to support us any further, we have t-shirts for most of our shows on there. Some really cool designs. I went on there for the first time in a while and looked at our store, and I was like, oh man, Zach didn't make that Coffin Joe Cinema Enema shirt I suggested, because I think that'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, I still need to, yeah.
With his eyes bulged out and maybe a different color, because we got the green one, we got the Demon purple, and we got the green one, which is Vincent Price The Fly. That's the only shirt I don't own myself, because I have like most of the ones myself too. I really want to get a Cinema Enema shirt. Those are rad. But anyway, if you guys ever want to support us and pick up a shirt, they always throw us a really nice percentage of each one of those sales, and the t-shirts are the best of quality. We don't put the shit up there. Other than that, do you want to pitch some Mac and Zach shit that's going on this month?
Oh yeah, fucking check out the new Mac and Zach episode, and by the time this one goes up, hopefully we'll actually, we're gonna be putting up the first exclusive Patreon episode. So check that out, babies.
Oh yeah, go over that one more time for people that don't know. You guys are going to do exclusive Patreons.
We did a movie called Forbidden World, because Mac had this idea, like we should do exclusive. Like we're going to try to have an episode of Mac and Zach every month, and then maybe like if you're a member of Patreon, you get a second episode every month. We'll see how long and if we can keep that up, baby. Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, you know what though? Like, and even if they can't keep it up, I mean, there's nothing that says that Matt, Zach, and I can't like bust out some cool Tales from the Crypt, some shit. Well, we're dedicated this month and going forward to really beefing up the Patreon. Thus, all the ideas we've thrown out there and all the stuff that we're actually implementing. I also would like to do some prank calls, just like some prank call episodes instead of like doing those the way we did, just kind of sporadically. Just have those up there and then be exclusive. And which, by the way, we got one up there right now that is notorious around these parts. It's the one that kind of ended all prank calls for a while because it just went south real fast. That's up there, and we were never comfortable making it public, but we're putting it there. So other than that, man, so yeah, think about checking that out in substance. And we got the Patreon apps now. I suggest everybody, one of our patrons, Brian Kennedy, he suggested for us to start reminding people to get the Patreon app because he didn't realize it existed. I swear to you that when I started it, it wasn't around, and I was shocked that there was no Patreon app, but now there is, and it's a really intuitive app. It's really good, and it helps you actually get notified of everything we put up. And he says it's helped him out too because, you know, he was falling behind and all the stuff. But yeah, and now with the app, when somebody comments on something, I get it right away. When we get a new patron, it tells me right away, and it allows me to send them a greeting message, personalized, saying thank you. And so very, very cool shit. But that's all we got. Also, new Exploited Cinema episode this week, right? Yep. That's going to be up right now, I assume, on Patreon. So other than that, guys, we're going to hop out of here. We'll see you Saturday. That's all I got. Bye-bye, Puppet. Zach, anything else?
Thank you for hanging out with us. Happy Halloween, baby.
All right, later. Bye.